Hey guys, it's Jake and Adam. We have another disclaimer for this episode. We briefly mention animal cruelty and brief mentions of school shootings.
Yeah, it's nothing like too crazy. It's not like, the embarrassing moments where it was the entire episode, but there are some brief mentions here and there and some stories from our childhoods, and just wanted to, give you a little bit of a fair warning that these are in the episode.
And yeah, just a little bit of a heads up.
All right. Well, with that said, enjoy the rest of the episode.
Love it. It's the hardest I've heard you laugh in a while.
Fucking stomach hurts too.
From the gig cuisine or from laughing?
Both.
Oh god.
Jesus Christ. Are you recording?
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. I need to compose myself.
It caught me shoving the mic to the back of my mouth and screaming.
Oh, fuck, I'm crying. It's
My eyes are gonna fucking hurt.
That was good. That was really fucking good.
You'll never know what we were talking about.
I think if we explain it, it ruins the joke. Adam, don't do that again, please.
Sorry, the coffee is...
It's working its way through your gut.
It's working its way back up.
Ethan, are you ready?
I think I am, yeah.
Alrighty, hit us.
Hello, and welcome to the It's Hard to Explain podcast. Today's episode is about school stories. How are we doing, boys?
My phone is not working, and it makes me want to drive my car off a cliff.
I really thought
but,
about
you know.
interrupting your intro by screaming into the mic.
That was a good one, Ethan. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good intro.
I'm good, I'm glad.
But no, I mean, yeah, it was good. It wasn't as dry, so that's good. You're learning. Yay!
Kagan, you could learn a thing or two.
Hey, fuck off. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about not even just school stories, just bullshit from school, stupid things we hated, things we liked. Which
I'm good, by the way.
So school stories?
rare. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good as well. Thanks for
It's
asking.
more than
thanks
just
for asking.
stories.
I asked how we were all doing,
Yeah,
and
but-
Kagan's the only one that answered.
And then he proceeded to just talk about
this,
himself.
this is true.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Nah.
But yeah, I'm fine.
So
Fine.
school stories, Kagan, right?
Yeah,
He's like, we're not just going to be talking about school stories. We're just going to be talking about, stuff from school that we liked.
Well, it's not just
hated.
stories.
School
it's just
stories,
Like, it's
then.
just experiences and things that we weren't particularly
that's
fond of.
that's the general topic of today's episode is school.
Yeah.
Like high school,
Yeah.
elementary school.
Things we experienced,
Yeah.
things we did, things we saw other people do.
I hated 90%
All the
of
fun
my
stuff.
school life.
I hated everything involving the actual school.
I like the interactions.
Oh
and
shit,
stuff.
are we just getting right into it? No catch up?
No, we can
Nothing?
do it.
Oh, no, we're gonna do a
catch
catch-up.
Okay.
I got a story to tell you. I think it's pretty funny.
Ooh.
So, obviously I'm a welder, so shit is bound to catch on fire in the welding shop. It
No
happens
fucking
more
way.
than you'd think. And I was in the bathroom wrestling with a bear claw.
Oh, God.
I was taking a shit, and all of a sudden I hear our fire alarm start going off. And like I am mid shit when this is happening, and I'm like, "What the fuck? Oh shit! Oh shit!" So I had to hurry up. I come outside, the building's on fucking fire. Like in the back corner, there's a fire just bellowing, and I was like, "Huh, man, I'm glad I pitched it off when I did."
Yeah, I was about to say, did you finish shitting?
Yeah,
Cool.
I had to I kind of had to.
I was taking a
speed
shit,
run it, but-
a.k.a. wrestling with a bear claw.
No, the log
was-
was still hanging out.
That was an intriguing plot line there. I just want to know how it ended.
No, yeah, I had to fucking speed run it, but I got
Did
it.
that work?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I had to grunt real hard, but
You
it
ever had
worked.
you ever had the stop and goes?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Dude, I fucking there's another shit story. It's not really a shit story, but every morning we have like a morning.
It always comes back to shit, dude.
This is the only two, I promise. It was that one and then this one I'm about to tell you. And I don't know what it was, but every morning we have like this morning powwow where we just talk about if any incidents happened the night before and whatnot. And I pull up to work and I'm feeling the thunder. Because when there's rain, there's thunder.
Yeah.
So I pull up to work at like 4:30, and what?
What's the rain?
Piss.
Uh,
And the thunder's ripping ass and shit.
okay,
But-
okay. I thought it was like streaks.
Yeah.
No, but that'd be funny too. But I pull up to work at like
Racing stripes.
4:30, and I go shit. And then it's like 5 o'clock, and I'm like, oh crap, work has officially started. So I had to go to that powwow. And as soon as I get to that thing, I feel my stomach rustle again. And I told my guy, I'm like, hey, I'm going to sign this thing. You say I was here, but I have to shit. And he was like, okay. And then I was in there for probably another 30 minutes, just, yeah, just, dude, I was fighting for my life on that toilet. I was like, I think I should just go home at this point.
He's probably cheating on me. The situation I am in.
And I'm just literally a brain straining shit. Just fires
When you
all
got
brain
It's a real
power.
eye roller.
when you're shitting and you gotta lock in, put your phone down.
Have you ever had those shits that are so bad you have to get completely naked?
Completely naked. You start
Yeah.
praying
Yeah.
to a higher form of power.
You assume the position, head bowed, hands clasped together, deep breathing. Like,
Please, Lord, if you get me through this, I'll do whatever you ask. Please.
And all that just for a little drop.
if I make it out of this alive, I will acknowledge
a
your
little-
existence.
And of course, nothing happened. So you're just stuck, sitting in agony. Sitting in agony like a snake. But those are my two funny things. Just, and you'd be surprised at how fast a building can fill with smoke, because the fire happened in like 30 seconds, and by the time I get out, smoke is already just everywhere. And I was like, oh
You'd
fuck.
be surprised. A lot of people are surprised at just how fast fire can just consume everything in the general area.
Yeah, when I first started
It takes like
working there,
no time.
when I first started working there, they have like these intro safety videos, to show you the do's and don'ts and like some incidents that have happened.
Just classic
And-
OSHA bullshit.
Yeah, well, and then,
Propaganda.
so we have like giant paint booths that have like cotton filters on them to like catch the paint, and those things are very flammable too.
Yeah.
And all it takes is literally just a tiny spark for those things to light up in flames. I've seen it happen so many times.
It sounds like a scam.
But
not like you smoke cigarettes.
They show
around those.
they show a time lapse. They show a time lapse of how fast it consumes. In like 3 minutes, the building was full of smoke. That's how fast that shit happens.
Damn.
And I was like, ooh. They're like, yeah, so as soon as you see that smoke and you hear that alarm, you need to get the fuck out, because you will be consumed in the fog if you do not.
Did y'all ever have to do the this is school related. Did y'all ever have to do like this little fire training thing, like the
Fire
local
drill
practice
departments
or
bring
whatever,
yeah.
like a decoy place, and you have to practice like
No.
calling out.
No.
Oh no, we didn't do anything that.
No, we
serious.
went to a small school. We didn't
Our
have that
school was so
budget.
small. Whenever we had a tornado or fire, they would say, or mostly tornado, they'd say, "Get in the bathrooms," and
Or lay in the
fetal
hallway.
position.
Lay in the hallway in
Yeah.
fetal position. Like
Yeah.
the tornado's going to see that and be like, oh man, I guess I can't
It's
do
gonna
that.
feel bad. It's gonna be like, man, I can't now.
I was always worried if the tornado did strike, we would all be sucked through the hallway.
Just
I was always
funnel out.
worried about the people I was in the bathroom with. Like, oh man, I'm gonna die with this fucker.
Yeah.
My last moments are going to be looking to the eyes of this fucking bitch.
Exactly. And those bathrooms were terrible. So if you were having to get down on your knees and like huddle up and have your face right next to the floor, what if someone pissed on the floor? You just have to deal with it. You're like,
Dude, I would never put my face near that goddamn floor.
I don't even know if I don't even remember ever having to go into the bathroom during a fire drill, or not a fire drill, tornado drill.
That
We
was
usually
all-
just went out into the hallway against the
I
walls.
guess it was like-
kind of like huddled down in the fetal position.
I guess
That's
it was
what we
like whatever room was closest. I remember there were a few times we went into the restrooms, and then there were some times we went into the hallways.
yeah,
I don't remember the restrooms. I remember the hallway.
You're just trying to. They just want you to fucking stay in the most interior place
Yeah.
possible and huddle against the solid
Right.
concrete walls of the
Yeah.
prison.
But that's my shit. Does anyone else have any?
But no, whenever we did fire drills, Ethan, it was just kind of like, they just call. They wouldn't even set off the fire alarm. They just call over the intercom and be like, "Oh, there's a fire drill!"
Yeah.
And then we'd all like get up and line up and like orderly file, just walk out the nearest exit, line up outside, let all the teachers take roll, make sure everybody was there, and then we'd all go back in.
It's like, dog, I don't think they know what happens when a fire breaks out. People don't leave in a single file. They fucking flee. It happens at my work. Everyone just kind of fucking books it for a door. They don't really like, okay, let's line up, single file,
Everybody
first
line
name
up.
left.
Do this
Everybody
uniform.
got their apple slices and chocolate milk. All right, let's go.
And it's like, they say leave your shit, but nah, dude, I ain't leaving my hat to burn down in the building. That's my hat, man.
Bro,
Can't
I'm not
leave-
leaving shit. I'm poor.
This is probably awful, but I've always thought like if my house were to catch on fire, I'd treat it like a game show. Like how many things can I leave out the door with before my house burns down?
First thing coming with me is my computer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
first thing I'd grab.
Then I might bring my fiance outside.
But
If
that's
we're
the thing,
lucky.
though, dude. If it's a fire, that's one thing. But if it's like a tornado and your whole house is gone,
What do you do?
You lost.
Well, if you have homeowners insurance and shit, they'll replace that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then you are just
Yeah.
shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Which
That's
I
always
didn't
terrifying.
renew my homeowners insurance for like this place, and I need to really bad.
It'd be
Wah,
renter's
wah.
insurance. but-
Renters insurance, same thing. Well, we live here. It's our home for the time being. So
Does anybody else have any stories before we get right into it?
I do.
All right.
It's actually, well, I have one story and one just kind of like anecdote.
Okay.
But so we got another new guy.
Oh,
Oh
fun.
boy.
He's already gone.
How long did he last?
This one lasted like maybe a week and a half. 2
Longer than the
weeks.
other guy, right?
Well, yeah, longer than the other guy. The other guy only lasted like 4 days.
4 days.
he deserves a medal.
Yeah, he did. No.
No.
But this guy, overall, I thought he was an okay dude. He was a little strange, but yeah, overall he was okay. But he wasn't very good at the job was the problem, you know?
Yeah.
And we all kind of had like a slight problem with him because it was like, even though he was nice, unlike the other guy who was a dick and bad at the job, this guy was nice and just wasn't very good. But we were all talking about it, and my buddy was like, he's not going to be here much longer. The only reason they're keeping him around is until they get a new guy, and then they're going to replace him. But yesterday, whenever I was on my route, one of my buddies texts me and just goes, "He gone."
He gone.
And
gone.
I said, "Huh?" And he said he got fired. And I said, "Fun." He said, "Yeah, he had pissed off one guy by writing all over his time card. Didn't clock out when he went to lunch. Tore up some cigarettes while cutting them in front of the owner of the company." And then tried to argue with the warehouse manager about cutting them in front of the owner as well. So they just let him go on the spot.
I just said, "Yeah, I need you to pack your
People
things
just
and leave."
can't act right. I don't understand.
Yeah, that's like how to get fired. Speed run.
Yeah, because
Speed run.
I work at a
A
place.
tutorial.
I work at a place that deals with like tobacco products. So whenever we get shipments of cigarettes, we have to use box cutters to kind of cut the tops off the boxes
Oh,
before
we
we
cut
put
too deep.
before we put them on the shelf. And he just fucking sliced through like 6 cartons of cigarettes right in
Did he grip it and just?
It's like you aren't a samurai, bro. You don't need to slice like you're killing. You
Yeah.
just need to open this shit
and
up.
it was right in front of the owner of the company as well. Like,
Ooh.
Wow.
Well, that
and then whenever they confronted him on it, he argued with the warehouse manager about it, saying he didn't. And it was like, bro, you were right in front of the owner of the company. Like,
Whenever you said, Jake, people don't know how to act, that reminded me of another thing that happened. The guy that trained me, I moved to a different area, but I still he's like his area's right next to mine, so I still talk to him regularly. And the painter that's in that area is this short little black lady who is one of those people. It's like, I don't care who you are, you ain't gonna talk to me like that, and if so, we're gonna have a problem. And basically, she was trying to tell him what to do, and he's the lead in that area, and he basically said, "You need to stay in your lane. You're not gonna tell me what to do." And she was like, "No, you better watch who the fuck you're talking to." It's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do, dude?" Like,
Yeah.
like chill out. She's telling you, just go back to what your job is. You don't need to do all this extra stuff. And she was like, "No, you better watch who the fuck you're talking to." And it's like, why you gotta be that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like people straight up kill people because they're like, "No, I ain't gonna be disrespected like that." It's like,
Yeah.
brother, just take the L real quick and then bounce back.
Move on with
Yeah.
your
Like
life.
hop off your ego for a second and just
Yeah.
accept you're wrong in this situation. Like,
It's
it's
that's
so
just-
hard for people to admit that though,
Yeah.
yeah.
and that's sad.
I mean, if you can admit you're wrong in a situation, then
Bravo. Bravo.
bravo
right,
to
right,
you.
and it fixes most of the time. It helps the situation.
But those
Yeah,
people
If not
that
complete,
fix the
if
problem.
not completely.
But
Not
those
completely,
people
but
who
it
just
helps.
double down.
It helps, but a lot of the time it can just fix the problem. If
Yeah.
you,
Exactly,
somebody
yeah.
just if
Exactly.
you'll just admit you're wrong.
But
like-
people have too much pride to admit those
Yeah,
things.
but
Yeah.
and those people usually double down, and
Or
it just makes
deflect.
things worse.
they double
Yeah.
down or deflect, and they just don't want to admit their wrongdoing.
Yeah, and that,
Kagan. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, what I can admit when I'm wrong,
I'm just kidding.
unless I know it pisses people off, and I just keep going to make them mad
That's
because
a
I think
different
it's
thing.
funny.
Yeah,
But
it's a
if
different
it's an
thing.
actual
We act a little
situation
silly.
where I
It's
know
called
I'm
we act a
wrong,
little silly.
then
silly geese.
I'll admit fault to it. Like the event that happened not too long ago, I admitted that it was a big fumble on my part, and we're past it, so we're good.
Oh yeah.
That's another story I have having to do with school. Actually, is deflection.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
And then my little anecdote, just my little side
Mm-hmm.
thing. I love my boss. He's a great boss. Ethan knows him. He's a great boss.
Yeah, he was very friendly.
He on mainly on Fridays because most of us that's like our heavy route day. Most of us drivers get back decently late.
Friday is like my easy day.
Yeah. Most of us drivers get back decently late. Like I'm always the last one back. Yesterday I got back at like 6:40.
Yeah.
But the boss man, like he goes home, but he doesn't like, relax and get undressed and fucking start drinking or anything like that until all the drivers are back,
Start drinking.
Yeah. He's an older guy. He likes his whiskey. He'll sit at home, have a drink, and all that shit. But he won't do any of that until all the drivers have made it back safe.
Okay. I thought you meant like he won't start drinking on the job until people get back.
No.
He's like, okay, now I can drink it.
Yeah,
drive. Perfect.
he stays dressed up and like ready to get out of the house
time.
until he's sure that we're all back.
Yeah.
That's
And
good.
That's nice.
whenever I made it back yesterday, I texted him and I said, "Made it," and he said, "Good, go have a cocktail." And I said, "Start my weekend off right with some cocaine," and he said, "Way ahead of you."
That's an awesome boss.
Yeah.
That's great, dude.
I wish my boss was like that.
Your boss is an
Me
old.
too.
He's just fucking
He could have
old.
been. It would just would have cost you.
He's got like an authority complex.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the Air Force as a security guard. He was a judge and he was a cop.
Yeah, so he's got a bit of an ego on him.
Damn.
He's got an authority
Because all the
complex.
positions he'd had have been,
Has
positions
been in
of power
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or
He's
form.
always told someone what to do.
I'll always respect somebody who gets a position of power like that and doesn't let it go to their fucking head.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah,
that's
Seems
my
to be a
boss.
hard thing to do.
It is. But Ethan, it could have been your boss. It just would have cost you $2 less an hour.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Jake, do you have any stories? Or Ethan, do you have any?
I do not. I'm quite
this week?
boring.
I have been okay. So I'm in college. So this week, I think it's the same schedule as like all the local schools. My spring break starts like now. So
Yeah.
I've been doing
word.
homework
Oh.
and shit. And yesterday was, I think, it was the last day before spring break. So I got some shit done, and I've been playing a lot of Helldivers.
Fuck
I know we
yeah.
talked about that recently.
I
but
know, it's just such a
like,
good
Dude,
game.
we
It is a
fucking
really good
rocked it
game.
last night.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
we
we
were
did.
fucking them up.
Yeah, we were running
Except
shit
Jake.
like
Jake was kind of phoning it in.
we were we were running shit like diarrhea. Adam bought fucking Stratagem Hero.
Yeah,
and Jake
yeah.
became obsessed with it. He was just
I bought the fucking Super Citizen Edition specifically because I wanted Stratagem Hero. Like,
Yeah.
also it gave me the Premium War Bond, but also Stratagem Hero.
I
That's
mean,
all I really
it's-
cared about.
between
The
missions.
only
Jake was just
upside-
playing Stratagem Hero. Just
I got a high score. I
Dude,
got to
Jake
like
was
level
fucking
5. Yeah,
crazy.
I fucked it up.
The only upside to Stratagem Hero is like stratagem training.
Mhm.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
it's for.
well, that's literally all it is. You're just typing in stratagems while you're
Yeah.
timed.
My hand got cranky and said no more. So I was like, okay, it's probably time to stop.
When me and Kagan went to walk the dog, we were like, how much you want to bet we get back? And he's still playing Stratagem Hero. He's
I
on
was
like level
playing-
10.
I was playing most of the time you were away. And Ethan was just sitting there eating something.
Yeah, I was eating
Yeah.
pizza.
Watching
and
me
I
do
had
it.
a Mexican
Dude,
Coke.
I so thought about just parking my character in front of the machine.
That
Just
would have pissed me off so bad.
That would've been great.
No.
I'm gonna leave this here, and I'll be back in 15 minutes.
As far as like stories go throughout the week, nothing of note really.
Yeah, nothing
Nothing
eventful.
of note. I mean, Ethan, you're getting you may be getting a position of power yourself soon, will you not?
I mean, yeah,
Quote unquote.
They've let me know that I'm going to be promoted to kennel administrator, and I'm probably
Oh,
going to get
boy.
a pretty decent raise.
And he's gonna have people
I'm
under.
gonna have
He's gonna
my
have
own
underlings.
office.
Guys,
underlings
Ethan's
in an
running for
office.
president. Make
He's
sure to
gonna
vote
have-
for him in the 2024 election.
He's gonna have underlings.
I will legalize all the things.
I'm legalizing everything.
everything. What do you mean everything? Everything
Everything.
in existence. You want dark matter? Boom, get it.
There you
Also-
go.
It makes me think of Gravity Falls. If you've seen it,
What?
when the Irrational Treasure, that episode
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they find the stupid president,
Yeah.
and was
Oh,
Sir
what was his
Quentin
name?
Tremblay the
Yes,
third
yes,
Esquire.
Yes. And he was encased in
He was
peanut
encased
brittle
in
or
peanut
something?
brittle. Yeah. At the end, he's like Mabel, and he's like congratulating her for her genius in solving his
Yeah.
puzzles, even though they were just stupid.
Yeah.
He's like, and for your hard work, I'm making you an official U.S. congressman. He
hat.
puts a top hat on her head. I'm legalizing everything.
Yeah. Ethan, what I was going to say is, we've noticed some background noise in the recordings, audience, and soon we'll be recording in a new location. So maybe that'll help.
Hopefully.
Help
Yeah.
with the background noise a little bit.
Yeah, because we have stuff like there are animals who make noise every now and again. There's a fridge nearby that you can kind of hear the hum in the background. Most of the time, we have a ceiling fan because it's kind of hot in here, so you'll hear the air.
We're working with what we have.
That's what I was about to say. It's I think it's a decent setup. It could be better, definitely, but
sure.
we're working with what we
Yeah,
got, and
and-
what we got is
But
this.
we
Yeah,
are working
and-
to improve quality.
Yeah,
for you guys.
and since we're recording in Kagan's apartment, obviously there's this guy named Kagan. You can hear him every now and again. We're working on it. Okay.
He just keeps talking and
He'll
he
be
won't
gone
stop.
soon enough.
He won't stop. He knows what we're doing this and it's important, but he just keeps opening his mouth.
He's not even part of the
interrupting.
podcast.
Yeah,
He
what the
just
fuck are you doing here?
He just keeps yapping.
Give me fuel. Give me fire. Give me that which I desire.
So,
Imagine a ghost right now just giving me top. I wouldn't even know.
How would that work? You're not even. Are you?
It's a ghost. They
Boing.
can phase through. They can phase through pants.
Yeah,
and
but
just,
are you?
it's like a phantom pain.
it's a phantom pleasure.
Metal Gear
just
Solid 5?
a ghost just giving me mad top right now, and I wouldn't even know it. I wouldn't even feel it. It's probably why I'm not hard.
All of a sudden you just come in your britches.
Why are we going to talk about school right after we talk about head?
Anyways, so in school, right?
That's what this is about. This episode, school stories.
Yes.
Do we,
Getting
do y'all,
on.
do y'all have any
into it.
wild stories to open up with?
I have a mild story,
Let's hear it.
but I'm sure like
I think
a
you
lot
should,
of people.
I
have.
think you should tell the story about the frog.
Oh yeah, I can talk about that later. But
since I spent some time at college, can this also involve some stories?
It's
Yeah,
a
that's fine.
school.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
form
school.
of education.
Yeah,
yeah.
Um,
school.
this is something that's probably happened to a lot of kids. I'm sure many kids did this whenever they were in school. But you know how you had to sign, you had to have your parents sign a slip of paper for you to go on a field trip.
Did you
Yeah.
forge
I
it?
forged my mom's signature, and
Damn,
I
Jake.
remember.
Just admit to a felony on the podcast.
I admitted to her face, like the teacher. She was like, "This doesn't look." She said, "This doesn't look like your handwriting. Did you forge this?" And I was like, "Yeah." I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, the jig is up. I didn't know like how to cover it. I
You
wasn't a
didn't
good
know
liar.
how to fake it till you
No,
make it.
I was just like, "Yeah." And then she said, "Okay, you're not going." And I was like, I was
Aw.
crushed.
Damn.
Did
Can't
you?
remember where it was.
Did you just be like, I'm sorry, can I have another one?
Oh
Like,
no,
no second chances.
No.
Can I try
think,
again?
I think it was like the day of that we were supposed to turn it in, and I was like, I didn't give this to my mom. I guess I'll just forge her signature. Maybe that'll work.
Where were y'all going?
The Museum
Yeah.
of Discovery.
I never
It's
went on
probably
a
a museum or zoo or something.
While
like
we
that.
went to the school, I never went on a field trip.
I went on a
No?
couple.
I went on a
No.
few.
Yeah.
When I still lived in Texas, I went on a couple, but here I never went on a field trip.
I'm
There was
sorry.
remember they planned a senior trip, like a
Oh,
senior
yeah.
field trip for us, and then they said no, never mind.
Where
Yeah.
was it? Was it to the zoo?
I don't remember.
my God.
Yeah, they
It
were
was some
trying to,
lame
they were
shit.
trying to plan one to the zoo.
Yeah.
It's like the worst place. Like
My thing is, it
zoos
would've
in
been-
generals aren't like zoos in general aren't great. You know, they're kind of they have that depressing air of caged animals.
I feel like it would have been, just fun to get out of school and not have to.
I mean, it
go
would have.
for
It
a
would have.
day.
It would have been nice to see some depressed giraffes, but
I remember
in a
the
piss poor zoo. Yeah.
that was like the go-to was like the zoo or Magic Springs,
yeah.
especially for
I did
like,
go
the
to
band.
Magic Springs a few
Yeah.
times because I was in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, yeah, I never went on a field trip when we were.
Ethan, were you a
At
band?
school.
Were you a bander?
Yeah, I was in percussion.
Hey, me too.
yeah.
Couldn't read music
For a week.
but
I see. I picked. Everyone picks percussion as their number one choice. Everybody just wants to hit shit. I wound
Yeah.
up playing the
We've got a
trombone.
couple
I wound
people.
up playing the trombone.
yeah,
Tromboner.
I could still play a trombone. I still remember all the slide positions and everything.
Jake, you said you had some stuff.
We both do. We got up to some shenanigans. Yeah. Do you remember any of them? I have a few that I remember off the top of my head.
I remember the band room used to sell sodas for like $1.
Do you remember that we missed the bus or I missed
You
the bus
missed
that,
the-
you want to tell us that story?
Yeah, so Adam knows that the band room used to sell sodas in the morning and whatnot. So me and Jake would for like $1. So me and Jake would stroll on down, grab ourselves a soda. We'd usually get like a Dr. Pepper and then complain how each day it tasted different.
Yeah, they just had sodas and snacks, chips, snack
Wasn't it
cakes.
just called like the band store? Or something?
Yeah, that's what we called it. Was
Yeah,
the band
the
store.
band store.
Literally, they just had stuff and they'd sell it.
Yeah.
Which was awesome until they fucking. I think they banned it, didn't they? They just kind of shut
They
it down.
banned the band store.
They just got rid of it. But
Like the superintendent just kind of shut it down one day because he was a fucking dick. I
Yeah.
hated that guy.
we got out of
he
class.
also got rid of our Magic Springs trip.
Yeah.
after he could, like, the first, like, as soon as he came into power, he's like, no more trip to Magic Springs.
Blasphemy.
It's like, fucking.
He's like, we're gonna use that to fund this stupid fucking program.
Fucking
Anyways,
hated that guy.
me and Jake got out of class, and we barely. It wasn't only senior year that we had class together.
Yeah.
Every other year we did not, but we'd always just meet up after class. And after school, after 7th period, got out or whatever, we'd be like, all right, let's go down to the band store and get a soda.
Was
real
this
quick.
like 7th grade, 6th,
I think
7th?
so.
It was,
I think so.
Yeah,
we're like, let's go down and get a soda. And we're like, all right. And at this time, Jake's parents did not like me because of big miscommunication thing that went on. Which my name's Kagan, not Keegan, right? So it kind of irks me when people call me not my name.
Yeah, sure thing, Keegan.
So Jake's dad once called me Keegan, and I told him my name was Kagan.
I corrected him.
I corrected him, and he didn't like that very much. So they kind of formed a resentment towards me for a good while.
He said your name wrong.
Yeah, as I say, that's some bullshit.
Yeah, talk to his parents about it.
It's like you say somebody's name wrong and you blame them when they correct you.
It was. I think it was just his Kagan's tone.
Oh.
He was
You're like,
being.
it's Kagan.
It was kind of like that actually. It was kind of like that. And
Well, I mean, I was younger. It's
and
not,
now my parents love him, but at the time they didn't have the best rapport.
Yeah.
So, as you were saying, Kagan,
Yeah, so that's just it's not like a part of the story, but it's kind of a factor.
It's relevant.
background.
It's relevant to the story. So we go down to get the sodas, and the bus I took was closer towards the band room, and the one that Jake took was closer towards the front.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd get on my bus, and he had to walk a little bit more. And I got on my bus, and I don't know how they just drove off without you.
Yeah, I was like almost there, but they left without me. I was
Yeah.
trying to make it to the bus, but I didn't make
Didn't
it.
you have to walk home?
I can't remember what happened, but I think at the time no one could pick me up. I can't remember how that ended.
You
but,
got home somehow.
but I got home somehow, and my parents
fast
were
traveled.
pissed.
You took the
Yeah.
pilgrimage.
Do you remember what happened though?
Yeah, so we made it to the bus. Like we were like, I made it to the bus by like a pube hair. Like we saw they were getting ready to close, and we fucking sprinted, and I made it, and he didn't. And then I was chilling at home a little while later, and his mom calls my mom and says, "Your son caused my son to miss the bus." And my mom was like, "What?"
Excuse me?
Yeah, mom
I'm
was
pretty
like,
sure I only told my mom, like, I told her we were getting
sodas, and
sodas.
I missed
and
the bus.
I just missed the bus.
Yeah, and I guess she took
I don't
that
know
as
what- I don't know
I
how
guess
that
she took
got-
that as it was my idea, so she blamed me for it. And then she called my mom and got super pissed at my mom for it. And it's like, it wasn't even my fault, dude.
Unbeknownst to you,
I'm pretty sure it
Jake
was
still
Jake-
holds a deep resentment for
I'm pretty
you
sure
for
it was-
making him miss the bus that
What's
day.
funny, I'm pretty sure it was Jake's idea to go get the sodas
It definitely
too.
was. I was
He was
trying
like-
to do something nice.
Because
I was like,
every now and then we'd kind of alternate who brought the money to buy. I think
Yeah.
the sodas were 50 cents actually.
they were pretty cheap, yeah.
Because
I know, right?
yeah, so
In
every
this
now and
economy.
then, every now and then we'd alternate. So I'd bring $1 and get a soda. He'd bring one, and I think it was his turn to do it.
Man, I wish I went to school with y'all.
It was
No, you
his turn to
don't.
do it. So,
No, you do not.
and I think that day he got there later in the morning because usually we'd go do it in the morning, but he was late sometimes. So I was like, oh damn, I guess we'll just have to get it after. And yeah, his mom I love his mom
It was
now.
a big deal.
I love his mom now, but then I was just like, damn, why you gotta do me like that?
Why? Yeah.
Like it wasn't even my idea. Like
There were a lot of instances like that, and they were just most of the time it was miscommunication. It was just
but it ended up turning into a bigger ordeal than it needed to be.
Now your
Yeah.
families have been feuding for
Do you-
generations.
I don't want this just to be about Kagan and I, but we do have a lot of
Yeah,
stories,
this is
and we
like-
could keep
We got
going.
history.
Yeah,
That's-
as I say, now your families have been feuding for generations. You're like a modern Romeo and Juliet
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Bromeo and Juliet.
Do you remember when we met in 4th grade?
Yeah, I was playing with another kid.
God, it really is a Romeo and
I
Juliet.
was
is,
playing. I was
dude.
playing with another kid. You know who it is. I don't want to say his name. I mean, I can if you just want to
His
edit
name's
it.
Stanley.
No, I can say his name. Just gonna
Like the
edit it out.
cups.
Yeah.
Me and him used
I
to be best friends.
I used to go over to his house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of, we got to start telling.
We got to tell that story.
Yeah.
So, but I used to be best friends with. I think Jake just moved to.
I just moved
to
there.
Harmony Grove. And
No
me
friends.
And, me and
No
were playing
friends.
Legos on the merry-go-round that we had. It was like this little, you just push
Yeah.
it and it spins. And me and him were playing Legos. And Jake says, "Can I play?" And I'm pretty sure I told Jake to fuck off. I said, "No, go
He
away."
said no, leave, and I was like, oh, okay.
And I don't even remember saying that, but I don't doubt it.
You
Me and Jake
were very mean. Yeah.
Me and Jake were little assholes younger, dude.
Oh yes.
Jake was a spiteful
I was
little
very
creature when
spiteful.
he was young, dude.
I got
He-
yeah.
Oh,
I feel like it wasn't even like I didn't know you too
Yeah.
well, Jake. So you kind of just say that you were a little shit, and
Yeah.
I just kind of believe you. But
Yeah.
I feel like Kagan, it wasn't like he was just an asshole or a dick. He was just still like his usual blunt self.
Yeah.
So it's just like, can I play with your Legos? It's just like, no, they're my Legos. Go away. Like,
I'm sure that's how it was.
yeah, it's just
but
kind of like
when you're
matter
young-
of fact.
when you're young, you kind of skew things to be a lot more intense than they were.
Yeah.
So to Jake, it probably would have seemed like I fucking struck him with a backhand and said, "If you ever cross me again, I will flay you living."
It's also because like so he didn't say anything after that. That was the end of the conversation. It was just like, can I play with you guys? And he was
No,
like, no.
leave.
And I
like
said,
a dialogue in
I don't think
a
I said
fucking
anything.
Bethesda
I just-
game.
yeah.
Just to
Linnaeus.
just that you speak to me, I just
that was the end of
something
that
away.
episode. I just
Yeah.
kind of walked off the edge of the map.
Yeah, he just despawned after a little bit.
He just looks at you. Can I play with Legos? No. Linnaeus.
Okay, fine.
And then I
The
think
Hoover Dam is but a place.
I think it was like a year or a year and a half after that we had like benchmark testing together.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
that's
the
when
benchmark.
we became friends.
Yeah, that's when we became friends, and then we started talking about Bionicle and Hero Factory.
Yeah.
So our friendship, the foundation of our friendship was
Because of
Legos and
Bionicle,
Bionicle. And we were just like, "What Bionicles do you have?" "Oh, I have this one. Do you have that one?" "I do have that one." And
Yeah.
then we
Look
just
how
talk
it's
about
evolved to today.
Yeah.
Legos
Right.
and
that.
Bionicles.
That's been like what 12 years. It's been
Probably
like-
longer. I thought it was like 13, 14.
it might be 13,
Yeah, it
14.
was,
I've known him for
a
that long.
long time
You want to
ago.
know something though? I've known Adam longer than I've known Jake. Yeah. So, but yeah, our friendship blossomed in the strong foundation that formed this mighty bond was fucking plastic molded toys.
And I remember the first day I came over to his house. I think we were like, "See you next year." It was the end of the year. It was like, "See you next year," and I came over that night. It was weird. Yeah.
And then we were up till, I mean, when you're younger, it feels like forever. We're up till probably like only
Dude.
midnight.
Playing Lego
Just
games.
Playing Lego
playing
games.
with Legos. Oh, it was a different
Those
time.
were the days.
It was a different time.
Yeah.
I
And
never
then
had
I can
that.
hear the dementia music thinking about it.
Yeah.
me and Adam have but yeah, what's funny is I've known Adam longer than I've known Jake.
No.
I think Adam was actually one of the first people I met when I came to that school.
See, back in high school, like me and Kagan we were cool, and we'd talk and we'd hang out whenever we were around each other, and then otherwise we just kind of like
Yeah,
just
be
never really talked
just
after
passing glance like, "Hey, what's up?"
that. How's it going?
Yeah.
Like we were always cool. That's how it was with Jake. Like me and Jake were always cool, and we'd chit chat whenever I'd come and sit at their table or whatever. But
Yeah.
you know,
It was never like we'd be like, "Hey, you want to come over to my house this weekend and hang out?" It was more just like, he's a school friend and he's gonna stay a school friend.
yeah, we were never like super duper tight like I was with a couple of other people.
So Adam, did you have a story about?
So yeah, me and Adam, we were both friends with. So we went to a sleepover at his house, and I guess me and my mom pulled up at like a bad time because there was a bunch of
I remember
shit
this.
going on.
So I was there whenever shit went down. So I used to go to his house a lot, like just because we were poor, we
You
didn't
know.
have anything at my house. Had like a bunch of consoles and games, and he was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like he was pretty cool, but sometimes he was kind of cringe.
Definitely.
But so he had an older brother, and his older brother was an absolute menace. He treated him like hot garbage, and so like he would just constantly just bully him and hit him
Aw,
and
damn.
call him names and all that stuff. And this coalesced into a big screaming, knockdown, drag out fight in their front yard with and his brother like duking it out in the yard, yelling at each other and throwing hands, and their mom outside screaming at them and threatening to call the cops. And it's not
just bad parenting.
it's
on her
already
part.
not a good part of town. And like then we had invited Kagan to come and hang for the weekend as well, and him and his mom pulled up like right as all this was happening. And then Kagan's mom just
she
Left.
saw this and then
Left.
put it in reverse, and we went home.
they just took
I wasn't even
went
upset
on.
about it. I was just like, I understand, because
Yeah.
I saw it. I was just like, I was
No.
like, "Hey, Adam," and he explained what happened. And my mom's like, "Nope,
Nope.
and she fucking nope.
Yeah.
And I was like, I understand. I wasn't even upset about it. I was just like, I understand.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't much care for a lot of the time that I spent there. I just went there because it was
Something to do.
yeah. He was one of the few people that I'd just go over to their house and hang out. Which I also hung out with. Since he lived close by, I also hung out with Doug,
Oh yeah, I remember Doug.
He lived pretty close by, so we'd hang out with him as well. But like, I don't know. I've blocked out a lot of my memories from going over there because most of the time it was just screaming fights and all that shit.
I remember going over to
Broken home.
It
to
was.
friends' houses and things like that happening. I felt so
Dude, it was
awkward.
secondhand embarrassment
Yeah,
because
dude.
you were like,
It was.
this person's my friend, but I low-key don't want to fucking be here right
Yeah.
now. Like,
Yeah.
It's like I want to be here to support my boy, but I don't want to be here for
For the
this
shit show. Yeah.
Like,
yeah, like I'll support you, but your family quarrels are your own. I ain't getting involved with that shit.
I remember we were talking about the bus stop, you know?
Yeah.
You remember whenever we were waiting on the bus that one time and, you know, as kids do, they like pretend punch each other and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they pretend to fight. Sometimes they actually hit you, sometimes they don't. But Kagan, this one time, Kagan was standing there this one time and he's like, fight me. And I was like, I pretended to punch him, like slow-mo punch him. And I had hair on my arms at the time. So I was like slow-mo punching him and I was like right underneath his nose. And my hair tickled his nose. And he like sneezed on me, but it was like the sneeze was like in slow motion too, because a loogie just like formed a line on my forearm, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
I
dude."
watched the fear form on his face. I was like,
you know that Adventure Time episode when Finn is afraid of the water and he steps in and his face is like, yeah, it was the same fucking thing. I remember
just
that.
laughed
I was
at
like,
him so hard.
"Oh my god, dude, that is awful."
It was fucking funny as shit.
It
bro.
was funny, but at the time I was like, "Ew."
Did you ever get injured at school in like a funny way?
Yeah.
'Cause I got a funny story.
Not in a funny way, but yes, I got injured.
I remember we were walking down the field and you just got fucking domed in the face with a football.
Oh, dude, that
And then
happened
you
more
just-
than once.
And then you just kept walking. You didn't like stop to like look at it. You just got
That
hit.
happened. Yeah,
and
that
then just
happened.
kept walking.
That happened once. Okay, so they can't see you cry because if they do, they smell your fear. Okay,
Yeah, they do.
It's over.
it's like
Yeah,
you cannot
the kids
cry.
around
they,
you,
they
they
will eat
smell
you
your fear.
alive.
Yes.
Like,
So like if I got domed, I would just kind of shrug it off. But that happened one time.
You
Kagan and I
thugged
were
it
just
out.
walking in the courtyard, I think, and you know how people do. They were throwing footballs over the pavilion
Yeah.
and whatnot. And I guess we were just walking where we weren't supposed to, or just walking.
We were just walking.
And
no one was
I
supposed to.
got domed right in the cheek.
Jake,
with
we were
a
walking.
football.
We were walking on a fucking sidewalk, an area designated for walking, and he got just domed in the face. And it was like, we just stopped for a moment. I just looked at him, and he just kind of went like, and then just kept
I
walking.
just shrugged it off.
and
but
content.
you
You
could
just
see
kept
the,
talking.
You could see the
red
fucking
mark.
the red mark on my cheek, and you can see my eyes welling up with tears.
But
But, I
Don't
was like,
cry. Don't cry.
He
don't
was
cry.
he was talking, and then mid sentence he gets domed.
Yeah.
He kind of takes a minute. He just starts talking and walking again, and I'm just kind of like,
I pride myself in.
I just kind of stood there, was like,
What the fuck?
you're not gonna acknowledge that? Yeah, I was like, are
Yeah.
you not gonna acknowledge?
I may or
Jake's
may
just
not
like,
have been targeted.
I think a mosquito.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I pride myself in being able to take a hit.
Yeah, I can
Like
I can hold
Moon
my
Knight,
shit in.
Because, dude,
Moon Knight.
but that's weird because it happened more than once. It happened with a dodgeball one time at my old school. And the
Our-
same thing happened,
You hear the noise.
except this time it was kicked and it hit me in the face.
Me and Jake were pretty goated at dodgeball in terms
I
of
love
dodging.
dodgeball.
Oh yeah, we talked about that last episode. I
Yeah,
think.
we were good at dodging,
Or
just not
a couple episodes
just
ago.
not throwing. You know, but in terms of getting hurt, I got a story. So remember that one day the power went out
Yeah,
completely.
you felt yeah
Yeah, We were
yeah.
and our first class was in Miss Bill's.
Miss Bill, yeah.
Yeah, Miss Bill. I'm gonna use an alias. It's not her name, but it rhymes with it. But Miss Bill's was our first class where it was just like a, I don't know, just like a class to do homework and
Yeah.
whatnot. It was just like a study
Homeroom or whatever.
a study room or
Study
whatever.
hall.
And I was going down to that class, and it was downstairs, and it was in like a stairway with no windows or anything. So I was walking, and as I took
Oh.
a step, it was raining, so my shoes were wet and squeaky. And as I took a step, the power went out, and I slipped and then fell down the entire flight of stairs.
Dude,
I know the stairway you're talking about.
And then I just got up and kept walking. I was just like, oh.
I have a
Anyways.
story from that same stairway.
yeah.
So that same stairway right next to Miss Bill's classroom.
Yeah.
I was walking up it, and there was this kid that I was like kind of cool with. Like we kind of knew each other. We kind of talked sometimes, but I had forgotten his name.
Oh yeah.
And we were walking past each other on the stairs, and he pointed at me, and he goes, "Adam," and I just went, "You." He's like, "You forgot my name, didn't you?" I was like, "No."
Hey, you.
No. And he's like, "What is it then?" And I was like,
Gary?
Hey, why don't you tell me? Just just
So
so I
we're
know
on the
you
same
know.
page.
Yeah.
I still don't remember his name.
So yeah, why don't you tell me your name so I can make sure we both know
Yeah,
that this
yeah.
is your name?
It's like the CAPTCHA check. I got to make sure he's not a robot. So tell me your name.
Yeah, just so it's not an alias. Yeah.
Ethan.
Oh, yeah. Ethan, do you have any?
Do you have any?
I have so many that
You
are
have
just
so
flooding
many?
back, dude.
I have a few.
But on the
Think.
topic of energies, not energies, injuries. You got
Energies.
energies.
I was about to say
Bad
I have
energies.
one. I have one for injuries.
We're about to
that
align our
injury.
chakra, boys.
Injury.
I have one for injuries at school that I've probably already told you all about. But
I've got an injury story if you don't.
Let's
I
hear it.
don't. I never
Okay,
did get injured at school.
I always got injured at a school place, like whether it was church, like church day camp, whatever care church. I don't know, whatever. I told you about that a couple of episodes ago, where the girl smashed my face into the metal part of a drum.
Yeah.
And I lost my front two teeth. It was at a schooling or daycare place, but this was at what was it called? It was TLC. It was a
Torture little children.
yeah. What was it though? Like an after school care?
Yeah,
Tequila,
I
lime,
went
and
there.
crap.
Yeah. So there, I had friends that probably weren't my friends at the time. I don't know if I told this story before, but we had this wooden bench swing
Yeah.
in like the corner of the playground, and there was a wooden post behind it, so it wouldn't swing.
Oh, I know the
so
story.
far,
I know
you know?
the story.
So there were three of us, I think 3 or 4 of us, on the same bench swing, and they didn't warn me before they did this. We were swinging, having a good time, and I guess they started counting down, and they knew that they were going to jump off on 3. Everyone jumped off but me. So whenever they jumped off, they were safe. They landed on their feet, but I was still on the bench swing, and that motherfucker did a full 360, and the back of my head landed on the wooden post behind it, and I had a hole in my head.
Oh god.
That was bleeding, and
nice.
yeah, it was bad. I'm fine, and I ended up being okay. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but I was bleeding from the back of my head
That's usually
where
how
it hit
it
the
goes.
post, and it fucking sucked.
Here's a.
They were not my friends.
No.
I'll start with a light injury for an appetizer.
All right.
Appetizer.
So in Miss Tits class, it's not her name, it rhymes. In I think 7th or 8th grade. So I was sitting in front of the guy Doug that I mentioned earlier, and I was just sitting in front of him, and it was the middle of class, and he was like, Adam. He like leaned over and he was like, Adam, don't lean back. Sorry, fellas. Should we reference it?
Yeah.
That bumping that you're hearing, there is a cat currently here, and she keeps bumping into Jake's microphone. But
Little fucker.
anyway, we were in Miss Tits class, and Doug was sitting behind me, and out of nowhere he just goes, Adam, don't lean back. And I leaned forward, and then I slammed my head back.
Oh yeah.
And the reason was he was holding a pencil up to the back of my head, just fucking with me, and I did it, and he was like, dude, what the fuck? Like he's like, I told you not to lean back, and I was like, I thought you were just fucking with me.
Oh, he was, but you the one that committed to it.
Yeah, you committed to the bit.
In that same class, this is another side. There was a dude named Steven,
Yeah.
and he was sleeping in his desk, and he was like leaning against the back of his chair, just kind of asleep.
Yeah.
And someone, and someone to fuck with him walks up to him, and it's just like starts putting their finger up to their lips, kind of being like, shh. And he grabs the back of his chair and just kind of yanks it up like 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
And Steven his head just flies forward and slams onto his desk.
Yeah.
And he immediately just grabbed his forehead, was like, oh, and just sat back up. It reminds me of the video of the dude sleeping with his head down in shop class on the table, and the shop teacher's there, and he has a fucking like sawzall, and he cuts the table, like cuts a circle around the kid, and he just falls through the table.
It's
Must be a
fucking
heavy
awesome,
sleeper
dude.
to fucking ignore a sawzall.
That is
Yeah,
awesome.
no, he was using it like lightly, like inch by inch, like kind of just barely holding the trigger, so it was just kind of like.
Yeah.
I mean, even then, it's still like he's probably gonna feel the vibrations of it. But
So, I have another story. It's another school story, but it's not I was unharmed, but I can't say the same about an animal in this story. So maybe trigger warning.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, before going to the school that Kagan and Adam were at, I was at a different one with our buddy Ulston, and this was about 4th grade, I think. It was 3rd, 4th grade. I was a car rider at the time, so was Alston. So we would sit outside, chit chat until our parents came and picked us up. And we found a frog outside one time.
Can I say something on the side tangent?
Yeah, what's up?
Whenever you're sitting there like waiting for your ride with your buddy, and your buddy gets picked up first, and you're just getting left there to endure the loneliness for the next few minutes until your parent gets there.
Yeah, it was like Agent K in Blade Runner when he's just laying on the stairs.
That was kind of how this story played out. I found a frog in the car rider lot, and I was sitting on the sidewalk waiting for my mom to pick me up, and I saw a frog, and I was showing Alston. I was like, "Isn't this cool? This is a cool little creature here, isn't it?" And then a teacher walked up behind us, yanked the frog out of my hand, and threw it, like piss missiled it at the fucking school window or something. And I'm pretty sure the frog died. And I was like left in shock. I was horrified. I can't remember what the teacher said. She was like, "Oh, frog bad. Don't touch those." I don't know.
It's probably that bullshit. But it's like, it'll give you warts.
Like Alston and I were just like looking at each other in horror. And then Alston left. He's like, "That was weird. Bye." And then I was like, "Oh."
Anyways,
you're just left there to contemplate.
Yeah.
Way to traumatize.
Just that. Oh no.
I don't know why that fucking happened though, dude. She just walked up, took it out of a frog out of my hands.
Did it make a noise when it hit the wall?
Bonk.
Clap.
Yeah, clap.
Wet slap.
You want another story involving a frog?
Yeah,
sure.
Actually, I have two involving frogs.
Ooh. School stories?
Well, one's college, and the other one's not really related to school.
I know.
I told you the
I
one.
know
Yes,
the one about college, but I think you
Do
should
you
tell it because
I think
it's a funny story.
The one about when my friend Erica found a frog.
Yeah.
I'll tell it to the listeners.
Yeah.
So at college, we had just went to get a bite to eat, and we were on our way back to the dorms, and our friend Erica found a frog just kind of chilling. And she picks it up and is like, "Oh, frog!" And then she looks at it. She's like, "You think I can make it on the roof of the dorm right here?" And the dorm was like 6 stories tall. There was no way that she was making it onto the roof. And she goes to try, and she reels back and starts winding up her arm to make this fucking catapult throw. Yeah. And she releases it way too late in her arm swing and just spikes it straight into the ground like a football. And you just hear it go, "Dunk." Just fucking...
Dude, it's so funny when people who are prolifically unathletic try to do anything because they do that stupid wind up like it's gonna fucking do anything.
This will really help.
They have no coordination for anything involving throwing or running or anything like that.
That's me.
It gives off real why I oughta vibes.
Crabs. No, we can't get sucked back into it.
But the other frog story was just, it still haunts me to this day. Whenever I was very young, I found a frog, and my little like child brain was like, "I could kill this." And I did. I put it on a rock, and I took another big rock, and I fucking just crushed it into a paste, and immediately felt awful, and it still haunts me to this day, thinking about how I cut that frog's existence short.
Kids do weird shit, dude.
It taught me that I shouldn't just kill things to kill things, you know?
Life is beautiful.
Yeah, it's like I to this day I still feel bad for killing that frog. Like, I was a hunter, so I would hunt, and I was okay with that because we'd, eat the meat.
Yeah.
And we didn't, like, over-hunt or anything, but just killing for the sake of killing, I learned that that's not really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really like those people who are just trophy hunters. It's like, if you're going to kill, at least use it, dude.
Yeah. It's like, and even if you want to trophy hunt, like, keep the head and whatever you want for your trophy, but at least, like, donate the rest of the meat to somebody who needs it. Mm-hmm. Like, at least keep it and donate it. Don't just cut the head off the thing and leave the rest in the woods.
Like, yep.
Like, something else will come along and eat the meat, so it's not like a total loss, but it's still kind of fucked, you know?
Yeah. Hey, literally just like, I just want your head. That is all.
Yeah, like that's bullshit.
I'd take the hooves and have little.
I think it was just
use them as pointers.
It was a time where you were like, what would happen?
I feel like you have to learn that lesson at some point.
Yeah.
It's like, nobody, I don't feel that way for everything. Like, I don't feel bad when I swat an annoying fly.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, there's like trillions of those.
To this day, like even bigger bugs, like earlier this week, whenever we were getting ready to load my Texarkana in the warehouse, there was a wasp. Like a yellow jacket that was just hanging out.
Oh, fuck those things.
On one of my orders. And for some reason, I just didn't feel like killing it. So I literally just because, if you're chill, they're chill most of the time. So I just kind of like got a little piece of cardboard and just kind of like held it out, and he stood on it. And then I just took it outside and kind of just nudged him away, and he flew away. I just nudged him with my finger, and he flew away. My warehouse manager was like, "Why didn't you kill it? Why didn't you kill it?" And I was like, "I just didn't feel like it." It's like if I just let it go.
Well, that happened to me at work because you know the big fucking. You know how moths can get real big.
Oh yeah,
I found this big red one. I forget which one it was.
Ooh, I love moths.
But it was. I do too.
moths are pretty red.
I think we all have autism or fascination with bugs. I like
Bugs are cool.
No, bugs
I
are
like
cool.
bugs. They're
But
pretty
I like beetles too. Beetles are neat.
Not terminids. They can all go die.
No,
but
fuck terminids. But
Up, right, down, down, down.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat
For
it.
your
down,
consideration, 500 kg.
Sweet lady liberty, my but it was one of those big fucking red moths, and I saw it and I was like, oh, that's pretty. And my coworker's like, kill it, and I'm like, fucking no.
Did you take a picture of it?
I did not.
Damn.
I think it was already dead.
I have a tendency to
Either
not take
it was-
pictures, even if I see something.
Either
cool.
it was dead or it was dying because it moved sort of, but it didn't. When I
Yeah.
picked it up, it didn't try to fly away.
See, yellow jackets are usually like the most aggressive, so I was surprised that one wasn't attacking. I feel like it had been stuck in the warehouse for a while and was kind of running on empty.
yeah.
So I just kind of let it
But
outside.
they were telling me to kill it, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna kill that thing. He's like, why not? And I'm like, because it's not often you see those big fucking moths.
because it's pretty and
Yeah.
it's docile and it's a nice bug. Like
it's rare. It's neat. I like the way it looks.
They're always real pretty too.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
pretty to look
I
at.
still remember. I have a core memory from being a child and going outside. And like whenever you go outside at night and you'd look at your porch light and you'd see all the bugs buzzing around it and shit. I still have a core memory of finding like a Luna moth that was like the size of my hand at the time, probably like the size of my fist now, and just kind of chilling on the wall next to the porch light. And I was like, oh shit! Like it was huge. The Luna moth, the classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was big, and I loved it. It was so cool.
That that reminds me of what you said, Jake. Your dad used to do is just take hairspray and a lighter, just
Dude, my dad would do
torch-
some out of pocket shit. He
torch
walked into the closet one time. Like my parents, at the time, they had like a huge walk-in closet, and I was in there looking for like school supplies. And my dad just walked around the corner with a stapler, and he was like, "Hey, check this out." And then he staples his hand, and he was like, "Isn't that cool?" I was like, "What? Why did you do that?"
No, that's
Dude.
not cool.
That was the most. There were kids who would
Yeah.
do that at school, and it was the most cringe shit.
Oh,
They're
on
like,
the
what's
topic
this?
of-
It's like, okay, but
Like that
why would you
happened,
do that?
Like one of the guys at school literally just walked into like I was in class and I can't think of a name that rhymes with Miss Bowler.
Miss Bowler.
Miss Bowler's class.
Baller.
And one of the kids,
Baller.
one of the dudes walked in, one of those dude bros, one of the jocks walked in and was just like, "Hey, fuck."
Hey, Miss Bowler.
Hey, Miss Bowler, fuck. I already forgot my alias for her. He was like, "Hey, Miss Bowler, watch this." And he unfolded the stapler and just smacked it onto his arm.
Yeah.
And just stapled his arm. And she just literally looked at him, didn't even react, and just said, "You're an idiot." That's all she said.
Dude, on the topic of not wasps.
He just kind of
moths.
blushed and left the room.
Moths. I just remembered my dad a moth was in the car one time because I guess it got stuck in there from the night before or whatever. But he caught the moth with his bare hands and then he ate it. He just went, oh.
Have you seen the video of the dude
Lord.
with the wasp nest?
No, I fucking hate that video. Oh my!
It's like a whole wasp nest covered in wasps.
He eats it?
And he was like, "You wanted him, bitch!" And he's filming it for some woman, I guess, that spited him.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You wanted him, bitch!" And he like points it up and just grabs it.
Oh my God.
And just squeezes it.
you see all the juice come out of it.
And he's and just starts chewing on it. And spits it on the camera.
Protein.
Yeah.
You
No,
got
that's-
him, bitch.
It's disgusting, but it's protein.
No, but when he squeezes it, you see all this juice start running from it. It was like, oh.
gotta
Then he
circle-
just
I think it's
eats
the
it.
larva.
Circle
the
back around to
plasma or
school.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this tangent's done.
So-
I do have another injury in the back pocket from school.
Okay, let's
I
hear it.
never did get injured at school.
Not once?
No.
Do you not have any interesting stories from school? You went to a big school, so the fact that nothing
The
happened is
school
finding it
that
hard
I
to
went
believe.
to loved
It's corporate.
authority.
Yeah.
It loved
Yep.
rules, and if you broke those rules,
Zero
you
tolerance.
would pay for it.
They
You
would
wouldn't be
hang
seen
you
the
from
next
a
day.
guillotine. They would hang you
you'd
from
be-
fucking the
They
gallows.
would execute you in the square.
I think if you back talked a teacher, most teachers
They'd-
would
they'd
just
beat
write
your
you
ass.
up
You will
for
be
detention.
stoned at the pavilion.
Dude,
and it would be weekend detention.
They
You
just
wouldn't have
beat
to
your
stay
ass
at
with their
school.
bare hands.
it was such bullshit. The people who would get onto you for quote unquote back talk.
Yeah.
It's like if you're making a valid point as to why they're being like unreasonable, and they tell you that you're back talking, and it's just immediately just fucking ruins your entire stance.
Yep.
It's like what the fuck? It's like no, I'm trying to debate why you're wrong. Like
Yeah.
My parents did that.
I've got a story
Specifically,
about a
my
school
dad.
fight.
Did your dad do
You
that?
got into a fight?
Do what?
I feel like we had similar fathers. Did your dad ever get onto you for back talk?
Oh yeah,
Dude, it's such.
If I
'cause
so much
he
as
was
questioned
he
him,
was
it's-
so blatantly wrong,
yeah.
and like, it's so stupid.
I mean, he's a good dad, but he's just got little authoritarian
My
qualities.
well, it's my stepdad. My stepdad raised me well in terms of the man that he
yeah.
formed me into, but at the same time, he was just some of his rules and stances were just so
Over the top.
God, Hitler.
Kagan's got a story about back talking.
Oh yeah. So,
But before we do that,
Ethan,
Ethan,
let's
you
hear
had
your
a fight
story.
story.
Yeah. Continue.
I wasn't in the fight. I witnessed the fight.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
That's something.
That's how it was
That's
for me.
something.
I was
There
like
were these-
never in fights. I just saw them.
I was in
Yeah.
2 fights.
There
2
were
fights.
these 2 girls
Ooh,
Yeah.
One
out
cup.
in the courtyard.
Ooh,
This
cat
was in
fight.
junior high. It was right after
They can
lunch.
throw fucking hands, dude.
they can. Girls can.
Jesus
Dude, they
Christ,
fuck each
yes.
other up.
Fucking yeah.
Cat fight.
They do not play.
All they do is fucking
One
grab
girl-
hair.
No, I've seen some. Like, I'll tell you about one.
Ethan, what'd
after.
they do?
Continue.
One girl ripped the hair out of this girl's scalp.
Skelter. Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it was fake hair or what, but it was thrown into the air. Like, it was a full head of
Like,
hair.
huge tuft. Like,
Yeah. You could hear her scream.
Was she a black girl or?
They were both black.
Then it was
Oh.
probably a
weave.
weave.
Yeah.
A weave. Okay.
A lot of
Which
them-
that still hurts because those weaves are glued onto their
Yeah.
heads.
No, it still hurts, but usually, they wear weaves.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to sound like a stereotype. It's just a lot of them do wear weaves.
Usually it's kind of in between, from what I've gathered, it's usually kind of in between hairstyles because black people usually, the way that their hair grows, it's kind of like, you know, they grow it into a specific hairstyle because it's very thick and curly and, you know, they can kind of do one thing with it. And then once they want to change hairstyles, they kind of just have to start fresh
Yeah.
and wait for it to kind of grow back in order to do something
it's like an
else.
in-between.
It's a whole process.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. It's crazy. Like the work that they have to put into their hair, and I respect the hell
Yeah,
out
I
of
was
it.
gonna say I respect it for them to
So,
put up with that. I couldn't.
I
dude.
assume usually between like certain hairstyles, like especially if they've had one for a long time and their hair's just kind of like completely locked in,
Yeah.
they'll wear a weave kind of in that in between time, so that they can have something that they want that looks good.
I figured it's either they don't like the way their hair is, they, you know,
I am gonna fact check myself real quick,
but
but
this is just me
I'm gonna say
thinking,
that's
but I
kind of
could
my
be wrong.
assumption.
but
I mean,
usually, yeah, it's usually when I've seen fights between black women, it's because like whenever the hair gets pulled, it's usually a weave.
a weave.
Yeah, and it's usually because, you know, weaves are just long, straight hair that they like that are like dyed or real done up, and weaves can be expensive too. But
The only school fight I was in like kindergarten. I have a very vague memory about it, but this kid did something to me and I was not happy. I went monkey mode. I kind of feel bad.
What'd you do?
I feel like I almost killed him in a way.
What'd you do?
I was on top of him and I was just hitting the
oh,
fuck
you were
out of
hitting
his
it with a
face.
hammer fist.
I never got in trouble for it either. I don't know what happened.
Did anybody see you? Do you have witnesses?
I don't think so because I never got in trouble.
Okay, it was it was partially an assumption on my part, but that seems like the main reason is, like I said, because their hair takes so much work compared to just like, you know, a white
Everyone
chick
else.
just being able to do whatever with just straight hair. Usually it just allows them to kind of not really have to spend fucking 2 hours in the morning
Right.
perfecting their hair.
I understand that because I would
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
do that
it
myself.
lets them
I would not work
kind
on my
of
hair
have
for
more
2
time
hours.
in their schedule since they don't have to spend all fucking day trying to get their hair right.
Right.
And I get that. I understand that because
Yeah.
I would not fuck with my hair for 2 hours just to get it to look a certain way. I just say fuck it and leave it as it is.
But no, getting one of those pulled off definitely still hurts a lot.
Do you know how that fight ended?
No, I just remember being on top of this kid, beating the fucking shit out of him.
I think he's talking about the other one.
Yeah, the first one. That you're
where
talking about.
where hair was getting pulled.
Oh.
Do you know how that one ended?
No.
No.
I think the principal came out. He looked like Baby Huey.
Baby Huey?
Dude, the
Yeah.
principals are so, like, teachers and principals are so quick to get everybody to just leave. Because as soon as a fight breaks out, everyone gathers. Like, they're, like,
mean-
watching.
These two chicks were screaming at each other, and then the hair, you know, flies. And then I see Baby Huey running out into the courtyard.
Dude, no.
I
I think they were both suspended.
yeah.
I've only ever
most
been
likely.
in one fight as well.
I don't think I ever got into an actual fight. I've gotten into a few, like, standoffs, like, face downs, but they never actually escalated into a proper fight.
Cat.
But, a little story like talking about how women can like really throw hands. Like
Yeah.
whenever they fight, it can get real.
It's a fucking cat fight.
Like fucking. My mom told me a story from when she was in school where these two girls got into a fight, and it was in the hallway, in like we're in our high school building. You know, same building. It didn't change since when my mom went there, and it was in the hallway where Miss Bowler and all them like their classrooms were. And dude, my mom said that one girl like literally like fucking slugged the other girl and knocked her down, right? She told me what they were fighting about, but I forgot. And she literally, like, after she was down, the girl that had just knocked her down literally grabbed her by a fistful of her hair and started slamming her face against the wall. And you know what? Those walls were
Concrete.
cinder
yeah,
blocks.
They were,
And my mom said there was blood everywhere, and the girl's face was like pulp. Like it was.
Oh my gosh.
She said it was crazy.
Yeah.
That's fucking
That's
wild.
insane, dude.
But every fight
I never fights have de-escalated so much since like the 90s. I've
Every
never seen a fight go that far.
Yeah, every fight I've seen between
Yeah.
sorry, I was reading something. Every fight I've seen between two girls, it's always just been like yanking and pulling hair and throwing them to the ground.
dude,
and,
some of the
and then
fights
just
that-
like those punches where it's not even a punch, it's more just like a wind up side swap.
Dude, I saw a video whenever we were in school of two girls fighting, and it was by the old playground. Do you remember it? The old playground. They had like the basketball court that was just concrete. It might have been newer by the time we were in high school, but someone showed me this video of two girls fighting next to the playground over there. And this one girl was on top of the other girl, and she was like throwing haymakers right into her face, like good punches too. I was like, Jesus
It's always
Christ.
better when the fight is like people who actually know how to fight,
fight,
instead
yeah.
of just two dudes flailing at each other hoping
I
they
hate that.
I love
Yeah.
it because it's goofy as shit, but it's like
Every fight between two people who don't know how to fight always turns into like an aggressive
No, they-
hugging
they-
match
they do
where they're on the
this.
ground just kind of fucking
I've
rolling
seen
around.
Strangling each other.
I've seen enough fights on Twitter that they do this. They do the step back, they pull them up, and they're like,
Let me at him. Let me at him.
I've seen that shit.
Yeah.
And usually the person doing
they'll,
that,
like, step back, pull up their pants, and
usually the other guy is just kind of sitting there watching them do it.
what
And then
the
at the
fuck?
second that they move into range, they fucking knock them
Nail
out.
'em right in the
that
mouth.
reminds me, I saw a fight on Twitter where that happened, where the dudes were fighting, and mid-fight, the dude stops and starts pulling up his pants and doing his belt. The dude just
saw
fucking
that.
hits him,
Knocks him out, right?
Yeah, knocks his ass out. Dude starts bleeding because he hits his head on the ground. But mid-fight, the dude is getting wailed on. He like starts adjusting his pants, and the dude just comes around and fucking hits him in the side of the head with a fucking fist. And
Haymaker of
Dude.
a fist missile.
dude just goes stiffy mode and falls over,
So-
and he starts bleeding.
So Kagan,
Yeah.
what about your back talking story?
Oh, so Miss Bell was also the ISS teacher. So I got ISS because I was near a fight when it happened. And-
Near.
Yeah, I
Near,
I
yeah.
was near a fight when it happened, and they assumed that I was part of the fight, so they gave me they gave me ISS or in school suspension, even though I literally had nothing to do with it. And even
Wrong
people
place,
that were
wrong time.
even people that were like in the fight said I wasn't even involved, but they didn't believe
Before
them.
you go any further, at the time I was in ISS for a different reason. So whenever he walked in, I was like, "What? Are you, like, hey, bud, what are you in for?" You know?
What
And I
are
was
you
like,
in for?
and I think I said I was
killed a
framed.
man.
Like that's literally what
I wouldn't have gone.
I said I was framed.
First time.
But
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have fucking showed up.
Yeah,
I
I
would have
wouldn't have
raised. I would have raised hell to my parents
Yeah.
and made them go raise hell.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, my mom didn't believe me either. She thought I would be part of it, and I'm like, Mom, you know me. You know I wouldn't just go starting fights like for no reason. I have been in 2 fights, but I didn't initiate them. And they weren't really fights. It was more just like someone initiated it and I finished it because I didn't want to deal with it. And I'll tell those in a minute. But when you're in ISS, she was going over her rules, and she's like, if I feel like it, I won't even let y'all go to lunch. It won't hurt to skip a meal. And I said it would for me. And she turned around and slammed her hands on her desk and was like, "Are you back sassing me?" And I was just kind
No, drill sergeant.
I was just kind of like,
Dude, we
like
told you
I
that-
just
that
kind of like
woman-
froze
yeah,
up and was like,
that woman was in her like mid
90s.
and she still, dude. Whenever she was so soft spoken, but whenever she yelled your eardrums would rupture. Like she was loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
She was
whenever she
real.
did it, Jake was just looking at me like in horror as I was just kind of like,
Dude, you don't poke the bear. What the fuck? Like, what are you doing? You're new here.
I didn't think she would hear me because I thought because she's an old senile bitch. So
Wow.
she
Damn.
wasn't a bitch. She was very
was
nice.
yeah.
If you did what you were supposed to, she was very nice. She was very kind.
Overall, I loved Miss Bill.
Me too.
But no, she was very nice. If you didn't argue with her and you behaved yourself and acted like a person, instead of a delinquent. But it scared the shit out of me.
It was
dude.
scary, dude, because it comes out of nowhere,
I-
especially if
Dude.
you've only ever heard her speak softly
Yeah.
and quietly.
Yeah.
Because she's an old woman, she's very sweet.
don't
Whenever you get to know her,
expect
but
this
if you cross
whenever-
her,
Beast to
Yeah.
come
Whenever
out.
whenever I said it, I mumbled it under my breath,
And she caught it.
I didn't think she would hear me, but she caught it and fucking dude, it scared the shit out of me. I was like,
Yeah, it was literally on a dime.
yeah, dude, it was on site with her.
I've said it before that like that woman. I told you like her graduation picture of her graduating class was in the library, and it was
Yeah.
like 11 kids, and it was like class of 1938.
Dude, that's some commitment
Right
right
before
there.
World War II, right when the Weimar Republic was rising in Germany.
Ethan, do you remember whenever in season 3 of The Boys when Black Noir is going through his backstory, but it's portrayed through a cartoon?
Yeah.
And Soldier Boy beats the shit out of Black Noir. It's like the same thing. Like if Miss was crossed in any way like that, she would be Soldier Boy to Kagan's Black Noir. She'd beat the shit out of him, dude. I swear.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if she fucking
my
ripped her shirt
God.
off and she was just shredded,
yeah.
like Master Roshi from Dragon Ball.
She's
she just
been
fucking
mewing.
picks me up by the head like Venom picked up Kraven and just starts fucking wailing into me.
She's got a wave in her curls. She's like, oh God.
So I do have another injury story.
Let's see
Yeah.
it.
I've probably told it. It was whenever we were doing the lockdown drill.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I know this one. I was there for that.
Yeah, Kagan was in the class. Did I tell you all this
I
one?
don't think so.
We were doing a lockdown drill. No, we were in Miss Poo Farts. Miss Poo Farts.
I know.
Geometry
I'm
class.
related to this teacher.
Yeah,
it bothers me.
Yeah, we were in Miss Poo Farts geometry class.
Yeah.
Right across the street from.
Oh,
Miss,
yeah.
Right across the street. Right across the hall.
From Miss Corn
Right
Poop.
across
from
the
Miss
pond.
Corn Poop.
Corn Poop. I forgot her name.
I didn't.
From Coach Fights. So we were in her class, and there were, we did the lockdown drills as well, like the fire drills and the tornado drills. And for the lockdown drill, what you do is, since you have the door and there's a window next to the door, you would shut off the lights in the classroom and move against a wall where if somebody looked through the window, they wouldn't be able to see anybody.
Yeah.
So we'd move over against that wall, and we'd kind of crouch down and wait and be quiet. And so we did that, and the wall that we picked was the front wall where the whiteboard was, and where I crouched was like right underneath the corner of the whiteboard. And as soon as the lockdown drill was over, I was like, I kind of did a yippee, and I like jumped up into the air, and I did it, and the corner of the whiteboard dug into my back and gashed my back open.
Yeah.
Which at the time I didn't know. I thought it just scratched it, and I was like, oh, that fucking hurt. And
Yeah.
I'd kind of like limped back to my desk and sat down, and I was just sitting there trying to pay attention after class resumed, and I was like, man, that shit hurts. And I reached back and I put my hand on it and kind of like, put some pressure on it and stuff. And whenever I pulled my hand away, it peeled away.
Oh.
And I looked at my palm and it was just completely painted red.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, well.
Uh-oh.
And I I raised my hand, my bloody hand, and I was like, hey, Miss. And I was like, hey, Miss Poo Fart.
Dude, I remember she was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, hey, Miss Poo Fart. And she was just like wide-eyed. She looked like the soldier from the fucking meme. Alone at the End of the Universe. She was like, yeah. And I was like, can I go to the nurse? And she was like, yeah, I think you should. And I like got up and put my hand on my back and kind of waddled out of the classroom into the nurse's office. I still have a scar if you want to see it.
So I
Damn.
have a gripe about the whole school shooting thing. And it's like they made us go through all these drills. And it's like, but if someone comes to shoot up the school, it's going to be one of us. We're going to know what, not one of us, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
like it's going to probably be a student from the school. So they're
see
going to
it,
know
Evan.
all these procedures. It's like,
What's weird is the school district I went to would announce active shooter over the intercom, and it would.
Sorry, viewers, I
If
can't
there
show you
was an
my
active
scars well.
shooter, sorry, if there was an active shooter, the shooter would know everybody's in lockdown, so they wouldn't.
Yeah, it's like,
oh man,
Especially if
can't
it was a
shoot up the
student
school
at the
today.
school. Especially if it was a student at the school who went through a lockdown drill.
it's like they know the
Yeah.
procedure. They're just gonna break the window and fucking stick the gun in,
or
like
they'll just
sideways.
somehow get the door down
Just
or
look
whatever,
with
and
the-
then
Which the one time we had an actual lockdown,
Huh?
we did have we had 2 actual lockdowns.
Yeah.
The 2 times that we did, it was all outside influences. That we the school was not too far from like a big I don't know if I should say this, an institution that would house
Mentally ill people.
well, one half of it was for like the mentally troubled, and the other half was just for the elderly. So it was like it had an old folks home, and then the other side was for people that had like genuine mental problems. And they had an instance where one of the people on the mentally troubled side had escaped, kind of disappeared, and so they were looking for him, and they put the school in lockdown until they found him. And then the other instance was actually pretty fucked up, where
Yeah.
not too far from where I lived, there was I think there was a guy, one of the students at our school, her dad or stepdad and mom, I think it was her stepdad and mom, got into an argument because I think they hadn't been doing well, and the mom was finally gonna leave him, and
I remember this
he
one.
shot her. The daughter was at school, and he like pulled a gun and shot her, like gunned her down, and then ran off into the woods.
Yeah,
And
I
they-
remember.
they put the school in
I
lockdown
remember
for
that
that.
one.
The mom survived, luckily. Like I think
Oh.
I want to say he shot her in the head like twice,
fuck.
and
Damn.
she still survived.
Man, how bad
I
you gotta
didn't
be
hear
at
no
shooting?
bell.
How bad you gotta be at shooting?
Hear no bell.
How bad you gotta be at killing that you shoot someone in the head and they still don't die?
But yeah, they
Like,
they put the
said no, my brain
kill
dodged
me,
it.
yeah
bitch.
they put the school in lockdown until they found him.
Yeah, and Alston, it was funny. Alston, we were in Miss Wham-a-Lamb's class.
Wham-a-lamb.
Does that rhyme with her name?
Close enough.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
she was a math teacher.
Yep.
And Alston was just standing by the door with a pair of scissors, like a knife, and like so. Dude came in, he was just gonna fucking knife him in
Ching,
the
ching, ching,
throat.
ching.
Dude, Miss Bowler had a fucking drawer in her desk where she kept a bunch of like tools. She had hammers and wrenches and stuff,
Yeah.
and screwdrivers. And she told the students, like, if we go into lockdown, I'm gonna open this drawer. Everybody's gany grab something. Like, 'cause if they-
Everybody grab a
It's
sharp
like, can
object.
I get a big fucking
and,
monkey
like,
wrench?
and that was her thing. It's like, yeah, we would follow the lockdown drill, but if they wound up like breaking the window and coming through the window, we were all gonna rush them with tools and beat
Yeah,
the shit out
it's-
of them. Like,
That's how it is.
Fight. Time to fight.
That's how it
Yeah.
is at my work. Is it's like there's 3 options. It's run, hide, or fight. And it's like, dude, in a weld shop, you know I'm gonna make a fucking weapon and I'm going to
Yeah.
crack that dude over the head
it's
with
like,
it.
and Miss Bowler,
Oh hell no! That guy's crafting.
He's over there shooting, and he just sees me at the table. Like, you know, in video games, there's a little icon of crafting. It's like a hammer. He sees me at the table, just,
I thought we were on no build. Come on.
and he's like, he goes, "What, dude? No!"
all I could
As he
think
sees
of,
me just charge at him with like a
Flint like wood.
an apocalyptic warhammer. Just
imagine you're still
Subway
like
Surfers.
you had
Dun,
your
dun, dun, dun,
you had
dun,
like
dun.
your AirPods in and you're still working and you didn't know what was going on. All I could think of is like what was it, like No Way Home or something?
The
like
Amazing
like when
Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah,
like,
where Stan Lee's in the
Stanley's
library.
yeah.
He has his headphones on. And he's just doing
Lizard
stuff,
and
and there's a
Spider-Man
whole
are
fight
behind
behind
him.
him.
Yeah.
He doesn't
I'm
even
just-
notice.
And it's like I wasn't even making a weapon I was just making a weapon because it's like, oh, perfect.
I need a weapon.
I needed a test subject.
I always brought a pocket knife just to be
I always have a
sure.
pocket.
I brought that's some bullshit right there. I brought a pocket knife to school one time, and one time it fell out of my pocket, and one of the jocks also was carrying a pocket knife, but he saw it fall in my pocket, and he went and told on me for it. And then he told the shop teacher. Shop teacher told the principal, but you know the principal liked me. You know he was a cool guy.
Yeah, the principal was cool.
So he just came up to me and said, "Hey, I heard you have a pocket knife on you. What's that about?" And I came up with some bullshit excuse. I was like, I guess I just left them in these pants from the last time I wore them because, you know, I would go into the woods after school and just, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess they just got washed in my pants and I left them in there, like, on accident. And I didn't feel it because it was a small one,
yeah,
too.
and usually he'd just kind of hold on to it until
He was
the end
just
of the
like,
day
he was
and
just
give it
like,
back to you.
okay, well, I'm going to hold on to this till the end of the day and you can give it back then. And I said, okay. And I didn't get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
I had a similar experience though, because I had a weird thing as a kid where I'd like. It was very suspicious looking back, but I like to do this thing where if I liked a little tiny bottle, I would empty out the bottle, get rid of the label on it, and then just fill it with water or whatever, because I thought it was neat. And I had the bright idea of bringing that to school one day, and I guess it looked like alcohol to a teacher. So it's like she rung up.
Is that vodka?
She rung up like
Hey, shit, is that some Smirnoff? Let me
she,
get a drink.
She rung up the principal and my therapist at the time.
And your therapist?
Yeah, and they both walked into the room, and my therapist was like, "Hey, buddy, can we get a look at that backpack?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And then he found it, and he was like, he opened it, he smelled it, he was like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's water." Very convincingly, and it was a whole thing. At the end of the day, I didn't get in trouble.
As I say, did they just find out it was water and realize that they were
They
just
believed me.
stupid?
They looked around, take a gulp real quick. Man,
They're
this
like,
some
"Hey,
weak shit.
yeah, maybe not do that next time." I was like, oh, "Okay, yeah, sure."
Oh, so
What would make it more convincing? Because what were you using, like a Dr. Pepper bottle or something?
No, I think at the time it was like, you know what? It might have been like
as I
it might
say,
have been a Fireball.
it was a Michelob Ultra bottle.
It might have been a miniature Fireball bottle. I don't know what the fuck it was.
Okay, but like, brother,
Bro.
What?
just
Huh?
people's stupidity with that shit.
Yeah, it's stupid.
I had 2 stories about fights I'd been involved in. I say fights; it was more one-ended.
Yeah.
So one of them, the same jock that tattled on me.
He was one of my least favorite people.
Yeah. He on the football field for some reason he wanted to fight me. I don't know why. I guess he was
I
just
remember
bored.
that. Yeah.
That dude was
And-
a dick.
So he like,
like, no reason.
he like squared up, and yeah, I was small, but I'd always had like mass to me. So
Cat.
yeah, cat. I had mass to me. You know, I'm not fat, but I've always just been, as Jake says, a brick shit house. So he wanted to fight me, and he
It's an
squared
endearing
up.
term.
So I just walked over, grabbed him by the nuts in the shoulder, and picked him up, and then just slammed him on the ground.
God damn.
Yeah, I just kind of like grabbed him like that. It wasn't like I lifted lifted him off the ground, but
You
I
just
kinda
showed him off like a trophy and then slammed him down on the ground.
Yeah, no, I just kind of grabbed him like that, and then just kind of threw him to the ground, and it was really hard too.
He stands up. He's like, "Why are you grabbing my nuts? Are you fucking gay?"
That's what he said. He said, "Oh, that was really gay of you," and they just kind of limped off. He stood up. He said, "That was really gay of you." They just kind of limped off and sat down.
Hey, say what you want. He got the last word. That's all I'm gonna say.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure I said, "Fuck that! He's right. I shouldn't have done that."
I'd be
But
like, I'm not the one that
when I
ate
grabbed
shit.
his nuts, it wasn't like I fucking squeezed him. It wasn't like a.
It was sexual. I get it.
It wasn't like a gentle like caress.
There were
It was like a-
sexual undertones, Kagan.
It was like a little tickle.
You knew what you were doing. It was a little
Yeah.
reach around.
Yeah.
And then the
come?
second one was when probably
Probably later.
as soon as he hit impact, he fucking
Bro, I have forbidden
splooged
knowledge
his-
that suggests that he did.
Yeah, no, it's not forbidden if we know.
Yeah, I won't say it
know.
on the podcast.
But another one was in my senior year, wasn't it, or 11th grade? Because you were in the class for that one.
Talk to me about it.
In Spanish.
Keep going.
Civic.
Oh,
Yeah,
you guys got into a fight?
it wasn't a fight. You saw it happen, and your response to it was, "That's fair."
Oh, explain.
Remember, I was still working with you as a at a job.
Yeah, at job.
at
yeah.
job.
And I fucked up my leg the night before because I landed wrong, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I rolled my ankle really bad. And I was talking to you about it and how it hurts. So he came behind me and kicked
Yes,
it.
yes.
And it wasn't even. I just turned around and fucking decked him in the jaw. And then Jake just looked at him and looked at me and said, He's like, "That's fair." And the dude, I mean, he was a champ about it. He didn't go tell. He just kind of like,
Dude, that-
he just kind of like, he grabbed his jaw. He kind of looked at it. He was like, "Oh."
That guy.
And then he just kind of went and sat down.
that guy was cool. Today he's
big.
he's fucking huge.
Well, he joined the army, so.
Have you seen him?
Yes, he's
recently?
big. No, he's big.
Fucking big, dude.
Yeah, but he
God.
joined the army, so he's been hitting them games.
I do
and he's
remember
good.
that though.
But yeah, he just
That's
took
fair.
it. He took it like a champ. He went and sat down. He didn't
I mean,
tell
it
her
was,
anything.
He fucked around
just
and
kind
found out.
It would have
Yeah.
been cooler if he was just like, fair reaction. Said it.
of light. He said light work, no reaction.
I remember the only fight I remember being in was this kid's name. His last name was Youngblood. You remember him?
Oh yes, I remember him.
Badass last name, but not a badass person. I did not like him.
Yeah.
At the time, I think he was. I was in a relationship, and he was making advancements towards my woman.
He was gay though, wasn't he?
I think I don't remember. It
He
was
gave off strong.
it was a
vibes
dumb
that he
reason
liked
why
him.
this happened, but I just walked up to him it was one of those days where the playground was being like remodeled or something, or where we usually have recess or lunch was under construction or something, and we played in that huge field.
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
A huge field right in front of the school, actually. So people were in their little cliques talking. And Youngblood was...
He was hitting on your girl and he smashed his head with a brick.
No,
That's what I'm
no.
saying, you grabbed like
No,
a
I just walked up behind him.
screwdriver and stabbed him.
I just walked up behind him, did this fucking judo move where I reached around, grabbed his chest, and then put my leg behind his, and then I just shoved him down. And then he just got up, and I can't remember exactly what was going on, but people were like cheering me on for some reason. I didn't touch him again. I didn't touch him again, but I was like,
And
like
Obama
immediately
was
after.
there.
Everyone clapped.
Immediately after I did it, though, I was like, I felt bad. I was like, why did I do that?
Oh, and after that, the president asked me to join the Navy SEALs, and I became the boss and saved the world from a nuclear attack in Iraq, and everyone clapped.
Nuclear attack in Iraq.
Master Chief was there.
Yeah, Master Chief was there, and he said, "You need a weapon."
And you know what he gave me?
A gun.
A hand.
He gave me a hand, and everyone clapped, and the president was there, and my dad was there, and he loves me, and
My dad,
was
you know,
doing
he always
sick
hated me
kick flips
before
on
that
a
day. After that
skateboard.
day.
Anyways, that was my story. Thank you for blowing it out of proportion. Fucking assholes.
We weren't blowing out of proportion. That's how it actually
I'm
happened.
sorry.
yeah, I was there. Remember, I said, "Whoa, Master Queef! It's such an honor to meet you."
I feel like in high school I was a low key Chad. Like no one, like I would get comments. I
I'm cringe, and that's based. I will never be based, and that's not cringe.
Why'd you go?
I don't know. Just calling yourself a Chad is like the
I hate
most
that
cringe
term.
thing you
I
can
hate
do.
that term, but
Yeah.
like people gave me comments all the time. Like I remember.
Well, you always had resting bitch face.
I remember Bruin. He walked up to me one time, and what did he say about Playboy? He's like, what? I don't remember. You were there. I can't remember.
honestly
Obama was there too, apparently.
Yeah, he was.
And he said, you're a Chad."
I'm gonna stop talking and just listen to you guys now.
I'm just fucking with
My
you,
fellow
Jake.
schoolmates.
My fellow schoolmates.
I got
This boy, Jake.
Listen,
is a
listen
Chad.
here.
I was
I'm
kind of
sorry, Jake.
listen
I'm
here.
sorry.
Every now and again, I was kind of in the same boat, Jake, where people would say shit like that to me as well.
Yeah.
With like, cause one time, I went on this church trip with like I was in a youth group, and we went on a church trip to Dallas for some kind of convention or whatever the fuck. I don't even remember really. And there was a thing where we had to stay in lockdown at the hotel we were at because
Was Obama there too?
yes, actually Trump was there.
No,
And
it
he
was
said,
actually Biden.
he said, "It's very imperative. I am in severe pain. You must kill me."
Biden.
I command you to take Finn.
girls.
But Biden was
I'm
sniffing
your
the
president. I
underage
command
girls.
you to take Finn.
But yeah, Biden was just walking around to all the 13-year-old girls.
Don't date till you're 30.
But
Chocolate,
No,
chocolate chip.
we were in lockdown at the hotel we were staying at because there was an active shooter in downtown Dallas, like in the fucking city. And so we had to just kind of stay in, and you know, our youth group leaders and shit were talking to us and being like, you know, it's kind of just let's just chill out, hang out, you know, we'll be fine, all that stuff. And for some reason, everybody was just like, because I was just kind of like standing over, like just like listening and standing off to the side. And for some reason, people were like looking at me. I was like, I don't know. I feel like if that shooter showed up, I don't know. I feel like Adam would kind of kick his ass or something. I don't know. It was weird. I was like, what?
What? Me?
I'd never had that praise from other schoolmates.
I obviously rolled with it because I was like, yeah, I would.
It was never like
I totally would. I totally wouldn't try and throw a punch and get gunned down on the spot. Like,
Yeah, like I could take him.
you get shot and you'd fold like an omelet. Just,
yes,
so-
5.56. I eat that for breakfast.
the comments that I got were never like about my build or anything. They were always like compliments of my personality.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was always known as the nice guy.
The nice
you
guy,
know?
yeah.
And
Or slash
Kagan,
nice guys.
Kagan, what the fuck did you just say? I just lost my train of thought. I had RBF all the time.
Yeah.
And every time that I would get to school and Kagan would get to school, he would always sit down at the lunch table and be like, "Hey man, how's your day going?" And I would just look at him with my resting.
because Jake is not a morning person. Me,
No, I'm
I'm so used to waking up early that as soon as I'm awake, like I'm awake and I'm locked in, so I can be in a good mood. I'm not just gonna be like.
And it's not that I was ever mad at him. It was just I was not a morning person. So he'd be like, "Hey man, what's up?" And I'd be like, "Shut the fuck up."
And I would
That
be
was
like,
me too.
I'd be like, did I do something wrong? I'm sorry. He's like, He just wouldn't answer me. He just wouldn't talk.
I
He'd
answered
just
in
stare
nods.
at me.
I answered in nods.
He'd be like, "Hey, Jake, how's your morning going?"
He would just stare at me like with the fucking 1,000-yard stare. Just
Dude, I remember getting up every morning and eating breakfast at the fucking kitchen table with my brother. I have two brothers. One of them would always eat in the living room, and two of us would eat in the kitchen. And right across from the table was my one of my younger brothers, and he would always fucking smack his cereal. And I hate mornings already, so every time I sat there and I had to listen to it, I just wanted to like reach Freddy Five Bear, jump at him and strangle him, dude. Because he would just sit there going, and he also holds he fists his spoon like
With
this,
the-
and
like a
When you put it in his
Neanderthal.
mouth, would it click?
yes, it would click, and then he would go.
No, Jake, I gotta mention something. Right there, dude. When you would come over to my house and eat something, and you would use a fork, I wanted to stab you with it because you would bite down on the fork and then pull away.
It was
And
something
would
I
make
never realized
It
I
would
did.
make that shing noise against his teeth, and I would go.
I think on one of these
damn.
recent
It
episodes
drove
we were
me
talking
insane.
about like chewing on things. Ethan said he never chewed on.
I
anything.
never did
I
chew
fucked
on
up my
things.
tooth by chewing on cheap metal from like a twisty tie. It chipped
Yeah.
my tooth. It's still chipped because I did something stupid, and I was like, well,
I like chewing on the grippies, the pencil grippies.
I like chewing on rubber things.
It,
like
it gave me
balloons
good
and
practice for
stuff.
mewing, like
Yeah,
you know. What I
you
mean?
I also remember going back to school. We had a study hall
gotta do
period
that.
that was like 30 minutes long, I think. And I had a group of buddies in there, and we would just do slam poetry.
Yeah, I
right before
remember.
lunch. It was
Slam
awesome.
poetry.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then, in the same vein of fuck, what was it that Adam showed us? Kung Fury. It was it was in the same vein as that. One guy in the study hall showed us an Indian version.
Oh,
of-
Bollywood.
It was a Bollywood.
I love
it was
Bollywood movies.
It was
They're
a
so good.
Bollywood action movie, and it was like so balls to the wall.
It's
fucking
yeah,
crazy.
they're crazy.
Yeah,
It's
and it was pretty.
they're
fun
so
watching.
bad that they're good.
It's like
I'll
bro
have to-
kick flips a car and
Yeah, I'll have to look back on what it was called, but I can't remember it at the moment.
There was a Bollywood
so many
thing
good
I
ones.
saw where someone shot at the guy, and what he did was he threw his glasses up, and in slow motion they were spinning, like just in place to where he could see where the bullet was, and then he just pulled a gun behind him and shot the bullet back at the guy, and then he just catches the glasses and put them back, and I was like, that was badass.
dude, it's so
badass.
fucking out of pocket and insane, but it's also awesome. Like it's
Or like that guy, you've probably seen this one. He's running across the rooftops and he jumps to like a rooftop that's like maybe 50 stories taller than the one he was on, and he
Yeah.
just jumps and flies.
like he's chasing a plane. Like he's jumping from skyscraper to skyscraper, and then he just jumps to the plane that's like fucking up 2 miles away. Like
Jedi shit.
And it's like you were talking about yesterday with games and stuff. Like it's so bad that you like it.
have you seen the one with it was more of an ancient like battle, like they had shields and spears.
Oh yeah,
and
they
stuff.
like got
They like
this-
they get their shields and like lock together into a
Yes.
sphere of shields, and then they all climb onto a catapult, and it launches them as a ball
I
of
haven't
dudes.
seen that.
And then once it hits
they
the ground,
land and they all fall apart and land on their feet and just start fucking killing people.
and I was like, that's
Mobilize.
honestly
Yeah.
the coolest shit I've ever seen.
It
That's
is.
so fucking cool.
So,
I see the vision.
talking about school, do you guys miss anything from school?
just the seeing your
I
know-
miss not having to worry about bills. And
well, it's one thing like that, but it's also the fact of like the schoolwork wasn't the worst thing in the world. Yeah, it sucked ass, but
yeah,
um,
dude, I'd give anything to just go back and just do my math homework these days.
but it was more just like the people you would see every day,
social aspect.
you don't see anymore. Like
Yeah.
I see you guys, once a week because of this, but before we did this, it was like I wouldn't see you. Minus Adam, he lives right across the street from me. But I wouldn't see y'all for like a week or two at a time.
It's also
so-
like you go to the same school with this group of people for like 12 fucking
13
years, 13, 12
yeah,
years.
12,
So you
13
see
years.
them every single day, and you form.
and you think after
bonds.
13 years you still hate these fucking people.
Yeah,
Certain people you're like, damn.
But it's that routine. You know?
I thought after 13 years I'd at least semi like you. I still fucking hate you. Is the day we met.
It's like it's the routine though. Going to school, seeing these people every day,
Yeah.
having your social life.
And now you see like almost none of them ever.
Exactly.
or like those fucking teachers' pet kids. I hated those so much. Who would just dick ride the teachers and pause. Wait a minute. Who would dick ride the teachers? Hello, good morning.
Metaphorically.
Yeah, metaphorically, and just always sit at their desk.
Minecraft.
Yeah, and be like, they just constantly agree with them because they'd get better grades and whatnot. But those people who would like cry when they'd move to the next grade because they aren't going to see that teacher, it's like, dog, I don't care that I'm not going to see this teacher.
Dude.
I know I'm going to see them, and some of them were MILFs, and I thought they were very hot, and that made me sad. But other than that, I wasn't like, man, I'm gonna miss you so much. I'm gonna see you in the hallway next week, probably.
I almost.
I was like that when I graduated for like 2 teachers and a counselor.
I
It
was
like, man,
I
I'm
wasn't
gonna miss
at all.
them.
I was just like,
Let's let Jake tell his story.
That'd be awesome.
Was Obama there?
Anyways, I almost got held back several times, and I was talking to my buddy the other day, and I was thinking about how horrible it would be to make the friends that you have and then be held back and see them go to different classes. They graduate, they leave. You don't get to. You're not in that circle
You have to spend
anymore.
that last year alone.
Yeah, that would be awful. I almost got held back so many times for not fucking doing my work because I was a shit child. I never did my work. I just put it under my desk and did not do it.
I remember
That was me.
Yeah.
I did not care.
Yeah, I didn't care at the time. But then eventually I just did it. I figured if I did it, I got decent grades. I made it. I was like, it's not a big deal.
I graduated to not caring because I was a pretty smart kid. Like if I actually applied myself, but once I hit like 9th grade, that's where it started. Like I failed my first class in 9th grade because I just stopped caring.
Didn't you drop from like a pretty high GPA to like a 2.5 just because you didn't do shit anymore?
Less than that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I like for that last year, my senior year, I like struggled and fought to get myself back up to the mark where I would get accepted to college like unconditionally.
Yeah.
But yeah. I
remember
in 9th grade, I just kind of like, I was tired of the shit and I just stopped caring.
I always hated
Before that, I was an all A student. Like
I always hated that in math class. You sat right next to me. Whenever I'd ask for your help, you just give me the 1,000-yard stare. You wouldn't help me. I'd be like, can you help me with this? You just. And I was like, is that a no? I need an answer.
See, it was conflicting because I was supposed to be the smart kid, but at the same time, I stopped paying attention at that point. So I was just like,
I know as much as you do right now.
yeah,
It's like,
I probably know less than you right now.
like, dog, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I would pay attention to the teacher, and I still wouldn't know what to do. I would watch, and I'd be like,
This makes no fucking sense.
I don't know.
I'd do enough to just kind of like usually
Skate
squeak by.
Yeah.
But
I do have another story.
What's
I was in 5th grade, and it was my math teacher. I'm going to say her name because she's awful. Her name is
All right.
Miss.
Okay.
She hated boys, but she would always favor the girls.
is this the one you flooded your pants
No,
with diarrhea
no,
with?
that was in 3rd grade, I think.
She
But
followed you. Her
No.
essence.
No. I remember not knowing the answer to a question that she was working on the smartboard, and she knew I didn't know it. So she called me, and she publicly humiliated me in front of the classroom.
nice.
What did she say?
I don't know what she said. I know she called me.
It's just, what are you, fucking stupid? Like,
I remember a similar incident where we had a teacher named Miss.
Yeah.
And
Fuck
she
her.
said,
Fuck her.
She said, she's like, go ahead, ask questions. There are no stupid questions. I raised my hand, asked a question. She said, why would you ask a stupid question? I was like, what? Why? What?
she
What?
did the same thing.
She was an awful woman.
we were
She's a
reading-
fucking demon.
We were reading The Outsiders, and I asked a question that, I guess was pretty obvious to her, but it wasn't very obvious to me. And I asked, and she gave me a smart-ass remark, and I was like, okay, I'm never going to do that again.
I left her class first chance I got. I was there for like a week, and I walked to the office and I said, "Take me out of this bitch's class." Like,
My mom knew this lady because they did basketball together, and she said, yeah, she's a vile woman.
She is.
She is just so full of hate.
my
and just-
mom remembers her from because she was a teacher for my mom back when she had her maiden name.
Wow.
I don't even remember. her
I
maiden
forget
name.
you have a young mom.
Yeah,
Um,
my mom's not even 40 yet.
but
My mom's not either.
dude, I remember
My
when
mom
her
had me at 17.
I remember when her daughter
Mom had me at 19.
Yeah.
Ooh, and her.
her daughter
Her
was in the
daughter.
library checking out a book because I was a library aide, so I would be in the library checking out books and stuff for people as like a class period. I enjoyed it because I just sat there,
Yeah,
played on the computer, and then when people checked out books,
I tried to be a
you go.
student aide as well. I like being a cafeteria aide because the cafeteria ladies would let us have free food sometimes.
yeah. And then girl came in, and was doing her thing, and then her mom came in after because she had like a C inside. She came in there and beat her ass, dude.
Dude,
Yeah.
I've said the story.
Like literally beat her, not like spank, but she literally like beat her.
Yeah. Dude, there was a similar thing whenever we were in, I think, 6th grade. for Miss Morgan's class.
Mm-hmm.
We were in there just fucking, doing our thing, having class, and all of a sudden Miss storms in, and Miss Morgan's like, "What do you need?" And she's just like, just holds up her finger, just kind of like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
To another teacher.
She would do
and
that.
she grabs her daughter by the ear and starts fucking yanking
Dragging her out
her,
of the
like
class.
drags her out of her desk, is almost dragging her across the floor by her ear into the hallway. And then she slams the door. And you can just, like, we're all just sitting there in silence. Like, even Miss Morgan is fucking petrified,
Yeah.
like horrified. And you can just hear her fucking hitting her and her daughter screaming and crying.
Dude, everybody
I heard that it
felt
was because
bad
she
for
got
her.
like a fucking B.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't. So it might be that like hero complex thing, but it's like it was like, dude, I didn't really like the girl all that much either.
I didn't hate her.
I didn't.
She was a little entitled, but I feel like none of her like entitledness or anything was her fault. It was like
No,
all instilled
no,
on her
yes.
by her fucking
Yeah.
neurotic
So-
mother.
Yeah.
So like, I didn't dislike her, but even still, I was like, you shouldn't have to deal with that shit. It's vile. Like, if I could have, I would have done something. If
Her did not deserve children.
no, dude,
She did not
if
deserve
I was,
anything
if I,
she had.
If I had the balls to, I would have gone and beat that bitch's ass. Feel like how you like it, and then fucking, I would have caught a case for it. But like, she didn't deserve that. I mean, yeah, she got a to your standards a bad grade, but dude, my mom would be over the moon if I got a B on something.
I
Like,
remember. Do y'all remember?
hey, let's go get Legos. It's like fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, do you remember Ethan? I'm not gonna say his last name.
Just an Ethan.
Powell? Ethan.
No, not you.
That's you.
Fuck. How do I? Big tall guy.
yes, I
yes.
know exactly.
Yes,
who
yes,
you-
Always wore the Rasta
Yes,
jackets.
yep.
Yeah.
yes.
That Ethan. I still see him every now and again. He's still cool. But he was in Miss class one time. Like me and him talked about her not too long ago, and he scared her.
He scared
She was
her?
afraid of him because of one instance where, like, 'cause, she was just being a thundercunt bitch like usual, and he wasn't putting up with it. So he got up to leave, and she blocked the door, and was like, "You're not leaving my class." And Ethan was like, "You're gonna stop me?" Like, he got real close. He was like, "You're gonna stop me? You really want to try this?" And he was like, I will
will
go to juvie,"
bulldoze
because
through you.
Ethan was kind of a, he wasn't a bad guy, but he was, a bit, I guess, troubled.
abrasive.
Yeah, he was a bit troubled to the point where he was, he did not flinch away from getting violent in situations where it called for it. And after that, she like kind of like shrunk back and like backed up, and he was like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." And he fucking he walked right out of that
The
classroom.
reason she acted like that is because she acts so high and mighty. Because I don't think she's ever had anyone stand up to her like that before. And then when she's met with it, she's like, "Oh fuck, this dude might actually beat my ass."
Ethan was an imposing guy. Like, he did not play around.
No, he was a big guy.
And he had some rep at that school. Like, people knew not to fuck with him. Like, he was cool, but do not like fucking fuck
He
with
was
him.
about your height, Ethan, but he
6'3".
he was a bit skinnier. He didn't have like a big build on him, but he had that lean muscle to him. Like,
Yeah.
you could tell he could probably throw a punch.
Dude, he could whoop your ass. Like, he could whoop anybody.
He actually almost beat my ass one time.
did he
Do
really?
tell.
Yeah, the same girlfriend I was talking about earlier. Shit happened with that, and they got together, and he saw me talking to her, not in a "can we get back together" kind of way, just talking to her.
Talking.
And he singled me out whenever I was in the stairwell that you guys were talking about earlier, and he grabbed me the back of my neck, and he was like, "If you ever talk to her again,
I will
do something,
kill
you or something like that." And I was like, if you start a conflict with me, I'm not gonna like shut down. I like
You get defensive.
I got defensive, and I like pushed him away, and I was like, I can't
Start
remember
over.
exactly what I can't remember exactly what I said, but I think we came to an understanding. But I remember that vividly because it scared me at the time. I was like, what the fuck?
Ethan was an
I was
imposing
like, yeah,
dude.
he was pretty imposing, but I wasn't gonna back
Not
down.
to mention he had a voice like
I was
thunder.
yeah,
Like, he was
I
fucking-
wasn't like, oh, okay,
like, if you ever-
don't hurt me.
He
I
had a
was like,
deep
dude,
voice.
He
too.
did. He had a deep voice from a young age. Like, he was fucking rattle your bones.
Like, I'll be nice.
my balls still
to a
haven't dropped
person,
yet, and he's over here with them down to his
until-
knees. Like,
dude. If you start a conflict with that with me, I'll try to talk to you first. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna back down.
Be
you know?
diplomatic, but don't
Right.
ever.
Kagan, I was gonna ask you about Mrs. You talked to Miss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Remember
had
that?
we had a home ec class, which just what home ec is. It just shows you how to do basic shit. and the teacher, and there was also a thunder cunt. Not to the severity of Miss, but she was
was by far the worst person.
but
in
she
that
was
school.
she was a bitch. She was an entitled bitch, but she wasn't like a that kind of way, you know. She was a different kind, but she was
She was
still a
very
bitch.
condescending to most of everybody that wasn't a teacher's pet.
Yeah. And I think the day I lost my shit on her, and
I
that was
think
the
you
first
told
time
me about that.
that was the first time I ever lost my shit on a teacher, and it felt good.
Yeah.
Hell, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It made me feel good.
I'm just
No.
itching to do it again.
Yeah, I was like, "God damn, motherfuckers, come step up to me!" Ooh. No, but I guess I was already in like a bad mood for some reason. I don't remember what it was, but me and Jake were talking, and then she said something real snide and fucking, just air of superiority, matter of fact-esque, and I lost my shit on her, dude.
What'd you say to her?
I'm trying to remember because it was quick, but it was enough to make her be like, "Oh,
She
fuck."
made some kind of remark from what I remember, and like Kagan was just asking a question, and she was being condescending, and then Kagan was like, "Do you like belittling?"
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
I was like, who
Something
do
like
you
that.
think you are? Do you feel good belittling people because you're a teacher? Like, does this make you feel good, huh? And she just kind of like,
she was baffled. She
she
was
was like
"Whoa."
taken aback by it, and she was like, Kagan,
I feel like there are a lot of teachers that needs to be said to them.
they need to be put in their place.
Because it's like, you're a teacher, you're supposed to educate us. If a student's struggling, you shouldn't belittle them. That's just going to push them away from learning even
Yeah.
more. Like,
But
They
she was
should be
like
a role model.
She was like in shock that I would say that to her, and I was like, and then Jake just kind of looked at me, and I was like, I kind of started close towards the end of school. I kind of started gaining a voice in terms of like doing that shit.
Because they don't
Standing up.
expect you to have a fucking spine.
Well, especially if you go so long not being like that, then it just happens out of the blue. That's when it's like the most surprising, and they're just like, "Oh fuck."
that's one thing that I've always liked about like just my way of being. I'm always very reserved, non-confrontational. I don't say anything, but it makes it whenever I do say something that much more impactful because it's like, this guy means it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, like I hate confrontation and conflict. I'm not gonna like start a fight. You know.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I'm gonna talk to somebody before I even resort to that, and it's like a last resort for me because I hate confrontation just in general. Yeah.
So another thing is about fights is it's a mixture of fights and the bathrooms. The bathrooms at our school were a vile wasteland. It was like a fucking Dark Souls area. Like
the soapy floor story.
yes.
Yes.
Well, it's there's a couple stories
Okay,
pertaining to
okay.
said bathroom, but it was like a fucking Dark Souls zone. Like you go in there and you just boss
See the
music
veil
starts
of
playing.
green
Of the
at the
decrepit.
door.
Yeah, like Dark Souls boss music just starts playing, and you're like, oh god.
They took the doors off the hinges, didn't they?
and just one
So
of them.
so it's
It was
like
the
it's-
handicap stall they took it off
The
of.
stalls?
Yes.
No,
Well,
not the stall, the actual door to the bathroom. They took
yeah.
it off.
So they took.
say.
Yeah.
Adam, do you want to tell the story about you and what you and your fiance would do in
No.
said bathroom?
No.
It's funny.
No.
I think you should.
yeah, fine.
think you
it wasn't
should-
in the bathroom.
Well, in that area.
Basically, we PDA was strictly prohibited
Yeah.
at the school. Like
Yeah,
they'd be
same
on
for
your
me.
ass. Like there were a couple of teachers where it's like if they saw you so much as holding hands
Yeah.
or walking too close to each other, they'd walk up.
PDA, leave room for Jesus.
Room for Jesus.
But
They'd give us DH.
we
if they caught
had
us.
we had like code words that we would message each other,
Oh.
and we'd send like the code word, and it'd be like, asked to go to the bathroom because we were in different classes, and we'd both ask to go to the bathroom, and we'd both go to the bathroom at the same time. We come out in the other hallway, and there was an area between the bathrooms where a water fountain was, and it was kind of like a blind spot for the school cameras.
Yeah.
And we kind of like mess around for a little bit.
You dirty boy.
Not like full on
Yeah, and,
stuff, but
we'd fucking make out and stuff like that. But
and I'd watch from the shadows.
yeah,
fucking cuck.
We'd do that for a few minutes, and we'd be like, okay, bye.
I'd
And
be in like the
Okay,
corner.
bye.
I'd be in like the corner of the ceiling, like a spider, just watching. Yeah. No.
What? Yeah. What about your fight story?
But no, what I was gonna say
I'm
was,
getting to that.
what I was gonna say is, there was one stall in the boys' bathroom that was missing the door, and I forget. I can't remember if I directly witnessed it or not. It feels like I did, There were people in the bathroom, and apparently there was this one kid named Derek.
I know what you're talking
Derek
about. I was
was
going
an
to bring that
absolute
up.
menace.
God, he was.
He was a menace.
He was a menace.
He gave zero shits about anything. He literally just walked into a bathroom full of dudes and just walked into the stall with no door, dropped his pants, sat down, and just took a shit in front of everybody.
And then
Did
someone
not
looked at
care.
him. He just said, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
Oh my God,
He was
that
like,
that guy was
That guy was a-
imposing.
that
he
guy
was
was a
scary.
Chad.
He was scary though.
that was a genuine Chad.
But he was also he
gave
was a delinquent.
He was
child. Like,
unhinged and he gave zero shits.
yeah,
I
dude.
saw him actually not too long ago. I guess he works for the company that fills up gas stations, like the gasoline tanks.
I remember his dad was like a big like representative or something like that for Big Red.
Yeah, so I
whenever it
think
was a
I
thing
think he
before they
works there
sold all their
because I was
stores.
getting gas and I saw him get out of one of the oil trucks and like start putting the shit on to fill it up,
Yeah,
and I was like,
as I say, I'd always see his dad driving one of the Big Red company trucks with the
and
shirt.
he looks exactly the same. He looks no different, but no, he was. Fuck. There's.
See,
it's
I
coming
s-
back to me. You
I
brought
know-
this guy up, and it's coming. Fuck,
I know that-
Charlie horse.
I know that Derek has a baby because
Oh.
or probably not a baby anymore because a couple years ago whenever I worked at Dollar General he'd come in to buy formula all the time. That's all he ever bought. He'd come into Dollar General and buy Enfamil and then leave.
That guy really was something else though. I remember in one
He
class,
was a menace. So
he
fucking
in front of everybody. I felt so bad for this kid.
Overall, he
He's-
was an all right dude though.
He slammed the guy down on like stomach first onto a table and then started dry humping him in front of everyone, and I was like, oh my God, dude.
That makes it sound bad whenever I
Yeah.
just said, but overall, I
He's a
never
nice
had a
guy.
problem with him.
I
No,
didn't
if
either.
you were on his good side, you
Yeah.
had nothing to worry
I was about
about.
to say the dude was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Though. Like,
No, so I have a bunch of stories involving that fucking guy, dude. He was
Let's do the bathroom fights first.
okay.
Yeah.
So, so like I said, it's like going into a Dark Souls zone. You go in there and it's an air of dread. You're just. So first, I walked in there
you
one
start
time.
taking poison damage.
Yeah, I walked in there one time after lunch, and guys were spitting onto the ceiling tiles and having races to see who would fucking hit the ground first. And I walked in, saw that, immediately turned around and walked out. And teacher said that was quick, and I said, "Yeah, I changed my mind."
What's that Rick and Morty episode where Summer and the bucket head are making out, and their neighbor comes in and he's like, "You need any sugar? Never mind." And he like turns around and starts
You
walking
remember
away.
Yeah.
when they banned us from bringing any
Oh, he
kind of
said,
writing
"Hey,
utensils
he
into
said,
the
hey, I'm
bathroom?
back from that coffee run. I'll come back later."
I'll come back.
Do you
later.
remember that when they
What?
banned us from bringing any like
Yeah, 'cause
pencils into the
people
bathroom
throw
because
fucking-
people were sticking them into those
Yes.
ceiling tiles?
But another thing was, janitors would come in and mop the floors and do very minimal cleaning in the bathrooms, just enough to say they cleaned.
Yeah.
And I walked in after lunch, and two guys were having a fight after the floors were getting mopped. And they're basically just
Slipping and sliding.
They're basically just grabbing onto each other while their feet were slipping and sliding.
They were
And, like,
basically trying to hold each other up. It was like,
well, also
Stay
throwing in
still.
little jabs
Yeah.
here and there. And I was entertained, so I stood there for a minute and watched it. And then I don't think they noticed me, but I just kind of was like, huh. And I just turned around and went to class. And
how amusing.
she's like, "Are you ready to start?" And I'm like,
Yes, ma'am.
I was like, "I think so. I think so." I was
my
no,
God.
but
What?
whoever brought up Derek shitting with the open door. I remember another kid named
Adam.
Chase who
Chase.
the door that was missing the thingy was the handicap stall.
Oh.
So this kid Chase, I guess he didn't want to sit on the toilet seat, so he pulled his pants down, put one foot on the handicap bar, his hands on the walls on top of the stall, and his foot on toilet paper dispenser, and he was hanging, and he just shit while he was.
Dude, that beats my gargoyle. Dude. Oh my God.
It's so fucking
He was
good.
like 3 feet above the toilet, and he just shit, and it just fucking fell and plopped in.
It's so
Perched
fucking
up like
my
a fucking
God.
spider.
he was. He just fucking grabbed me. School was
Lord.
fucking wild, dude. Jesus Christ. And you couldn't even go into the bathroom and take a shit without going, "Hey, yo, who taking a shit in here?"
Oh, good lord! I hated
smells
when
good.
Or like they would,
That smells good.
or they would peek under the stall because the doors only came up so high.
Dude,
Oh my
Smells good in
God.
here.
It smells good in here.
But those are the
shitting?
those are the bathroom stories I had. I thought they were really funny.
Jesus Christ.
But
Dude,
the
the
Derek-
teachers, I remember they were like celebrating whenever our graduation year
Yeah,
came.
dude,
They were
our
like,
class
we're-
was the
our
worst.
class was like their least favorite
Yeah.
of all time. They
We
were
were
like, I'm ready for
fucking
these
awful.
fuckers to get
set
out
a
of here.
we
record.
were awful.
Yeah.
Dude, we set
Dude.
records. It was to the
wasn't,
point
you
where they
know-
were on patrol for like senior pranks because they were like, dude, no senior prank. Like if you try and do something, nobody's graduating. Like,
Yeah, or
That's
like that one school
wrong.
that bought a Moby Huge and fucking covered it in lube and super glued it to the floor, so they couldn't pick it up. So they just threw a towel over it,
Just to hide it.
Yeah, just
Oh my
to hide
God.
it. But that Derek kid, I remember he was in the library one time. I wasn't there, but I saw the video of it.
did they stick it to the floor standing up? All I can think of is like someone trying to hug it and just slipping up and down and trying to fall off the floor.
But I wasn't in the library when this happened, but I saw someone showed me the video of it happening, and it was the funniest shit because like another kid who's real skinny, like he's one of those real skinny delinquent builds.
Yeah.
I guess Derek was talking shit about this one girl.
I remember
And
this.
Zach was trying to be this fucking white knight, like, hey, you don't talk to her that way. So they were about to fight, and Zach starts stretching before the fight, and Derek comes over, just clocks him in the jaw while he's
Stretching before a fight?
Yeah, it's like, you don't want to pull a muscle. It's like, dog, if you're going to fight someone, I don't think
It's
that's
like what we were talking about earlier. Whenever the guy pulls up his pants and gets ready,
Yeah.
and then Adam was like, they just wait for him to get like
No,
close to him and then clock him.
No, it's like in the anime,
Same
they're,
thing.
they're powering up. It's like when Aaron didn't fucking wait for the Warhammer Titan to power up. He just clocks him and
Yeah.
starts. That's pretty much what happened. Dude was getting ready. He just starts. And then I saw the video, and it's just Derek screaming as he picks up. He's like, "Ah!" And he like slides him across
Can you
the
imagine?
table.
Can you imagine though how terrifying that would have been to me?
Dude, it was crazy. And Derek was a fucking animal.
Yeah.
Like
He
he was like
He
they
didn't
said,
give a
he literally
fuck.
clocked him and then like picked him up while screaming, slammed him on a table and slid him down the table onto the floor.
my God.
Like slid him down the table and then off of it onto the floor.
It's like a bar fight in a movie.
Yeah, I was going
Screaming.
to say an old Western
He
bar
was-
fight.
yeah, he was
screaming the whole
he was
time. They just fucking threw him off the table.
You know, I feel so bad for the librarian because she was such a
Oh my God.
sweetheart.
Dude, yeah,
Do
she
you-
was
do you-
the librarian was such a pure soul.
Before we move on, do you guys know that meme where Tyler, the creator, is falling from the sky? That's all I can imagine.
As he's sliding down the table, he's just like,
Yeah, dude, he did not wait. He
Oh my God.
clocked the shit out of him, picked him up, and just treated him like a fucking
rag doll.
a paper towel cleaning a table. He just he literally
screaming like a fucking banshee
he
the whole
literally
time.
he literally mopped the floor with him, dude. He fucking
Yeah, no,
You got an ego check there.
Derek was an absolute animal.
he was one of those
did
people
not-
that didn't fucking care
did
about
not
anything.
care at all.
So he was not fucked up about doing that. Was the same way, but he wasn't an animal. He had that mentality of I don't give a fuck, but he did not have the him status behind
Yeah,
it.
like he really thought that he was somebody, and he was not at all.
he
was
got
like-
humbled real fucking
he was
quick
one of
with
those
that.
people that just really wanted to be bad and like cool and all that shit, but he just wasn't him. It was kind of
Damn.
it was kind of a
That was
farce.
oh god. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
I love that. All I can think because that's what I remember most is the scream because I saw the video was on Snapchat, so it was a quick thingy. But it should scream. He's like "Ah!" as he's sliding across the table. It's like a primal barbarian scream too. It was like
The ancestors were summoned.
he summoned a wrath of the ancestors and fucking used all his available strength. I mean, he probably didn't use much strength. Dude was
Yeah.
a twig. So he probably just picked him up. I think he picked him up by the pants and the shoulder, like you see in the old cartoons.
Yeah.
Where and he picked him up like that and just fucking.
Yeah, no, yeah, Derek, yeah, that guy. He was probably the biggest menace
Yeah.
in our grade, dude. And he was overall just all right.
He was okay. If you didn't fuck with
If
him,
you got on his bad side though, dude,
he would probably destroy you.
Yeah.
yeah. If you got on his bad side, he was gonna make your life hell.
But I remember we were watching The Blind Side in the math teacher's class, and whenever Sandra Bullock came on screen and the teacher paused, Derek would pull up a chair to where Sandra Bullock was and start triumphing the screen.
Good lord.
no fear. This one.
No
No
fear.
fear.
Teacher was in the classroom too. It wasn't like he was trying to hide it. He just would pull up a desk and just go, "Oh, fuck, you like that, baby?" And he would just start fucking
Humping the whiteboard, dude. He'd hit on Miss Davis all the time.
Oh yeah.
He'd literally like we'd be in Miss Davis's class and he'd be like asking her out and trying to riz her up, and she's wasn't having any of it. She was like, "You're a little boy and I'm a married woman with 2 kids. And
It's not happening.
It's like, this is cringe, dog. Like, but he wouldn't stop either. He'd be like, "Hey, Miss Davis, you want to?"
I think he was just trying to continue the joke because he knew it wasn't going to happen, but just to get a rise out of her.
That's the thing, though. Whenever you,
Which she didn't care too much. Like everybody else, she thought it was funny, but she was also
Yeah.
like, this is inappropriate, so I'm not going to respond.
I'm not going to,
when you don't care what the reaction is from
that's the
whoever,
most base thing.
that's like you can literally do whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And you won't care. You
And he
don't
did
care
that.
what
And
the
I
response
respected
was.
it.
Yeah.
I respected
Well,
the hell
that's
out of
like
it.
that's like the thing I brought up where it's like I don't think people realize that there's not a lot stopping you from doing whatever you want, except like either morals
There
or
are consequences.
fear
but
of
you
other
can
people's
still
judgment.
well,
do
you
whatever
can
you
can
want.
do whatever you want. You just got to deal with those consequences. And if you don't have the fear of dealing
Judgment,
with those
yeah.
consequences or whatever, you could. I could go. This is an example.
You could rule the world.
I could take a sledgehammer to someone's car right now, and no one could stop me. Like, I mean, you could tell me not to do it, but
I mean, someone could get in a physical altercation with you. To
I know.
stop you,
But leading up to that, no one can really stop me from doing it. If I want to do it enough, I can just go
Yeah.
smash someone's car with a sledgehammer.
If Kagan just went nonverbal and like went and grabbed like a mace out of his closet and walked outside, and like we were like, "What's he doing?" And we walk outside and we just see him fucking smashing a car. It's just like, oh,
he finally lost it.
It's like he's gonna have to deal with his consequences, but
he finally lost all of his marbles.
there was not a lot stopping him from doing that. It's just like, or like the call to the void. It's fucked up, but it's like taking a car, just driving into a tree. It's like there's not a lot that people can do to stop you.
Why is your cat a fucking goober?
She's a
Yeah,
black cat,
goober.
dude. I think black cats carry the most cursed energy.
Pretty sure your cat's clinically insane.
Probably, dude. Have you met me and my fucking girlfriend? Yes, she's probably clinically insane.
Well, boys, do you have any more stories? I think that's
I have one more. It's a quick one.
all right. Ethan, do you have any more? And Adam?
There was this kid named
try and think of something.
Noah.
Me too.
And this was in that same math class. He had a white T-shirt on, and the teacher was talking. And he said, "Mr. Moak, I have one thing to say." And he stood up and just ripped his shirt off. He's like, "Ugh," and ripped his shirt off, and then he pulled out another shirt from his bag. And the teacher said, "Get out."
Get out.
Yeah, he ripped his shirt apart and then just put on another shirt. And then
Yeah, he just went, "I got something to say." And he just tore his shirt off and then put on a new one. The teacher said, "Get out," and he just picked up his shit and left. And I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like, it happened so fast. I was just sitting there doing my work, and he says, "Mr. Moak, I have something to say." And I just like, "Huh?" And
I
he just-
remember walking by that class when that happened. Like, I think I was walking to the nurse's office or the bathroom or something, and I vaguely remember that.
School was wild.
School was
man.
fucking wild, especially having such a small school like we did.
Yeah.
But so much shit happened, and the group that we had, it was insane.
yeah.
Shit would happen like every other day.
We
every
weren't
week.
we weren't the bad kids, but we knew the bad kids, and it was funny to watch them get into those shenanigans.
Yeah.
The school district I went to kept everyone in line. So
That's lame.
I just thought
as
of another
shit.
one.
I think
You got another
school
one?
should have a bit of
So,
anarchic disorder
do
to
y'all remember that kid Eli, who would
Yes.
kind of come and go
Yes.
because he was, a fucking actual delinquent? Like he was a fucking monster. Not even like
No,
Derek.
I don't remember.
Yes, I remember.
Not even like Derek. Like he was like actually a shit guy. But what I remember like it was like in 5th grade, in our 5th grade math class, we were all just sitting down doing our work, and out of nowhere he just stands up and goes, "Fuck this shit," and fucking grabs his entire desk and picks it up and throws it across the room and into the wall. And
I saw a video of something like that.
it was crazy. Like it was just out of nowhere, like just exploded. Like he was just sitting down working on something, and he just screamed up and was like, "Fuck this shit," and just picked up his whole desk and fucking threw it across the room.
Oh, so
And the teacher was like a little twig lady. Like she couldn't do anything. She was terrified. Like it was
I bet.
that kid was a monster.
So,
Like he was an actual monster.
I stayed away from it.
another thing about Derek is, this is one of the few interactions I had. I interacted with him a couple times, but this is one of the ones I remember the most. Is I think me and Jake were talking, and he came up to us because remember he wrote like a story, and he came up to us to read it. Like he asked us to read it. And I read it, and it was some of the most profound literature I've ever fucking read, dude. This shit was, I was like, damn, this is really deep. It's basically about, I forget what he titled it, but it was basically about a high school guy, kind of like him, a guy who didn't have any future prospects. He kind of just didn't give a shit about anything at school. And his girlfriend asks him, what do you want to do when we get out of school? And he says, I don't know. And he had a brother, I think, who was being bullied. So his brother became a school shooter. And he ends up sacrificing his life to stop his brother from, shooting up the school. And, it causes the brother who kills the main guy to have a mental breakdown and whatnot. And that's like the summed up version. But I was like, damn, this is really fucking deep.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, do you like it? And I'm like, Derek, I was like, I like it, but I think you need some help.
You need help.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I really like this, but I think
You can't keep going on like this, bro.
Yeah, I was like, Derek, I really like this, but I think you need to talk to someone, like,
Yeah.
because that is low key concerning. But it's like, bravo, like,
See,
aside from not using correct punctuation or anything, it was a very well thought out story.
Yeah,
I was
it's
just like, damn.
From a literature standpoint, that was great. It's like, grammatically it needs a little bit of work, but otherwise it's like, holy shit, very good.
New York's bestseller.
Yeah, I was like,
Every book is a fucking New York Times
Apparently,
bestseller.
it was so fucking daunting to me because I
New
didn't
York
think
Times bestseller.
I didn't think he was capable of writing literature like that. So it kind of threw me off guard. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's deep in their own way.
I was like, am I in an alternate dimension? Like, what the fuck?
Slipped through
The other day, I watched this motherfucker slide a dude across the table like a dish rag.
Screaming like a fucking animal.
And now
dish
he's showing
rag.
me some very profound literature that he wrote.
I wonder what he's doing today.
I already said
Hagen
what he
just
was
said
doing.
he's-
What is he?
He works for, I think, Big Red, and he refuels their, gasoline.
Big Red doesn't exist anymore.
Well, Circle K now.
Yeah.
Fuck them. He,
He's one of the truck drivers who
he was one of
refuels
the
gas stations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either that or he works.
And I
with
know
them,
that
but
he has a child because whenever I worked at GG, he would come by not insulin.
So he's.
fucking
So I don't know.
fuck. What is it? Like,
Formula?
Formula. Fuck, yeah, baby formula.
Crabs.
Would it be wrong to shout him out?
Shout out Derek. That guy. He's
Derek,
cool.
I don't know what you're doing now, but if you're listening to this,
Respect.
respect, respect, heavy.
You're a real one, on God.
Yeah. Because he was genuinely like a cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you talk to him and everything, he was a cool guy. But if you got on his bad side, you were gonna face the wrath of like
God.
Of every god. Like,
of every god, dude.
he was the chosen one.
That was the thing about bullies too. If you were getting bullied, you I never really got bullied either. But
didn't either.
I felt bad for a specific bunch of kids.
I had incidents where I got picked on, but I wouldn't really say I was bullied because it wasn't like a consistent thing.
It's like you're cornered because you have to go to school, especially if your family life is bad. You don't have anywhere else to go. You have to go there. You have to endure whatever the fuck is going on. You know,
Yeah.
it's a scary cycle.
Yeah.
I think I've said all I want to say.
Yeah, I think we were. Everybody good.
Yeah,
I
we're
think that was
good.
a pretty good episode. We had some really good laughs.
Yeah, man.
It was a nice trip.
It was.
It's always nice thinking about the good old days like
We'll
that.
have to get into that story at a later date.
Ah,
'cause it's
yes.
still kind of a fresh one.
the audience waiting.
Yeah.
Be ready.
All right, Adam, I think you said you were going to do the outro this time.
I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got compared to me. It's not saying
It
much,
better
but
be
let's-
wet as
let's
shit
see what you- let's-
compared to Kagan's dry ass.
Yeah, it better be dripping.
Bye. No, I'm just kidding. Well, since that's all we got, guys, I really hope you enjoyed listening to us, reminisce about our good old days in school. I feel everybody has those core memories that they experienced back in their school days, whether it be high school, college, elementary school.
Minus Ethan. His school sounded boring as shit, dog.
Yeah, that seems like it was more of an administrative issue.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty boring.
They're under investigation. But yeah, I guess that's about it, dear viewers. Like I said, I really hope you enjoyed going on this trip with us, and I hope you come back for the next episode.
If you like
gotta
what we
link
do,
the socials.
yeah. If you like what we do, be sure to follow us on.
Yes, sir. Follow us on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, on our Spotify. We have some social medias. We have an Instagram. We have a TikTok. We have an Twitter, an X.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
It's at it's hard to explain
Pod,
underscore
I think, yeah.
podcast. On Instagram, I think it's hard to explain underscore podcast.
Yep. It's the black logo with
They'll
the
all
white
be
glasses.
they'll all be linked.
It's hard to explain _podcast. That's the
And that's
Instagram
what?
one.
They'll all be linked in the
Instagram.
description.
Instagram. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening. Join us again next week, and see you later.
Bye bye.
Boy, yo, 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 yo.